All right, I'm back. Some of y'all didn't see it because I had some alterations to do, but your boy's back live. I'm not in the Kappa shed this time. I'm in I'm in the backyard next to the Kappa shed. Kappa shed is right, actually. Well, to me it's right there, but to you it's right there. That's crazy. It's a little screen flip thing. I ain't figured that out yet, but that's all good. How y'all doing, man? How are y'all doing? It is Thursday. It's a versus happening in about 50 minutes, so I'm sure I'm gonna lose all of y'all because y'all love some verses. I don't, but that's okay. I think I'm gonna go on IG too while we at it, just to see who's out there, right? Why not? Why the not? You know? So let's go ahead on and get that started. Actually, while I'm doing that, I need to get my battery. I need to charge my phone because I got my phone going up here, and y'all gonna lose me quickly. I'll be right back. Y'all can see my shorts. Look, I'm chilling today. All right. Dropping shit. Hold up. Phone dropped on my laptop. What's going on though? We out here. We chilling. Backyard. What's up, man? You all right?
Yeah. Can I get some money?
Money. Yeah. Go upstairs. Y'all hold on. I'm getting hit up for money right now. Hold on. How much you need?
Probably like $5.
Go upstairs in my drawer. And there's some in the drawer, the top drawer. You can just grab it out of there. Just that.
Huh?
I said then just that. All right. I'm back, y'all. What's up? So, couple things, man. Couple things. First of all, y'all see I'm representing FAMU. FAMU is now a part of the SWAC. As of today, Southwestern Athletic Conference. We left the MEAC, so we're part of the SWAC now. So shout out to all the other SWAC schools. We coming. We here. You know, most of y'all, we will see y'all in Miami for the Jackson State FAMU game Thursday night, September 2nd, for a nice little sip of smoke. Me and my boy BT, Diamante Roja in the building. What's up, Siobhan? Cigar Smoke, what's up? I'm just in the backyard. I'm smoking an Emperor's Cut. Shout out to Timmy Bush and the team. They actually fast tracked some Timmy for my event I was supposed to have today, and we postponed it for rain. I mean, it did rain today, but it's not raining now. But smoking on a Nicaraguan Emperor's Cut, and what's up, brother? It's Ice, and got a little red stripe, and got what's left of my my Bugal, my Dominican rum. I gotta buy some more Bugal 1888 for those that want to know. But anyway, all that being said, man, I'm just checking in with y'all. Like I said, repping FAMU today. We joined the SWAC, so now we playing, the Jackson States and the Gramblings and the Southerns and the Prairie Views and all of that good stuff. Siobhan, what's up, Siobhan? How you doing? But aside from that, man, so I'm seeing all of this stuff all over social media, and everybody has a right to their opinion, right? Everybody. But Bill Cosby is out of jail. 83 years old, served about 2 years for aggravated, aggravated, was it aggravated sexual assault? Something like that. Misconduct, whatever. And on one side, okay, Bama State. What's up, Bama State? I got love for Bama State. When I was at FAMU, had some noobs used to come down and check us out. But appreciate the love for sure. So, FAMU homecoming. You need to sneak down for homecoming. We got Grambling for homecoming though. But no. Anyway, and again, I'm not really going to jump on those sides. I'm gonna just state some facts, right? So he served his time, whatever. He essentially got off on a technicality. The prosecution made a mistake, which they often do, for that matter. And I think that on one side you have to praise the recognition of prosecutorial failure. I don't know if that's a word, but it sounds like it. Because there are so many of us who have fallen victim to, malintent by the prosecution. HB, what's up, Noop? And that's something that we can't ignore. However, there's also a sworn statement, which to my understanding, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I read, but there's also a sworn statement by him basically admitting to providing women that he wanted to have sex with at the time, Quaaludes. Now, there's also another instance, and the one that he actually got convicted of with the young lady. I shouldn't say young lady because I don't think she was that young, but the temple employee. And she, I believe, was given Benadryl. So you have people who are, and it's hard to kind of gauge where they're coming from. They're praising the fact that he essentially beat the judicial system. Why is it such a hard word to say? I ain't drunk. I say it and I sound like I'm drunk. Judicial system. I can never say that word. Anyway, and you got people. Apologies to my IG folks. I'm like laptop phone. So I'll try to make sure I pay attention to y'all too. But you got people who are, praising the fact that essentially he beat the system, which a lot of us can't do. We're talking about Bill Cosby. Of course he can. So I understand it. I really do. I understand the fact that yes, finally someone beat the system. However, should we be praising a man who admittedly provided sedatives or sleeping agents, for that matter, to women in order to have sex with them? That's a question. Growing up, man, love Bill Cosby. I mean, it was everything Bill Cosby. I was sad to even know that there was even a tie to him with any of this stuff. Like that part hurt. I mean, it was almost like your uncle, right? It was almost like your coach or, that extended mentor, even though, I mean, I've met him in my day, but never like on a real personal level. But, it's a disappointment. I mean, and we all have celebrities that we look to a certain way, and he was everybody's dad on TV, right? So there's that. But the flip side is like I'm seeing folks like go to the grave like, yeah, free Bill, toast up the bill. What's up, Rich? Toast up the bill. And I guess I can't get to that point. I can't. It's not something that I could ever be happy about. because he admittedly did what he did. You know, I've had many parties in my day. I've never done anything to alter a woman's mind to make her want to be with me. So that's the part that I'm hung up on. I have daughters. Even if I didn't, before I had daughters, I was still the same way. I mean, I grew up in the no means no era. Like when we were kids, no meant no, no matter what, right? Like that's what I remember. I was afraid of, I was afraid of that. When I was in high school, that's when Mike Tyson went to jail. So I was always afraid to be that guy, right? I was an athlete. You know, even in college, being in a fraternity, just being on the scene, right? Everybody knew everybody, for the most part. So I find it, I just find it hard to stomach. So seeing people happy about it. And I mean, it's some women happy about it. And I've seen comments where people say, oh, well, and really there's two separate times. Okay. So I want to be clear because I know a lot of people don't know because they don't really read the detail. And for me to want to be somebody who talks about some of this stuff, sometimes I make sure I read the detail because I don't want to misstep or misspeak. I don't want to misrepresent anybody, regardless. A lot of people are making this about black and white, but Harvey Weinstein's in jail right now too. So, and those were kind of the two to compare. Whether it's fair, I think Harvey Weinstein was differently a different animal, but similar in the sense of using, his influence. So, the real thought there, in my opinion, is okay, the system is one issue and the system was wrong based on the deal they made with him. So that deal is why he's out of jail. That bad deal. He's not out of jail because he didn't do what he was originally convicted of. That's the difference. Just like if I go shoot my neighbor right now, but I have a deal with the prosecutor that I can't be prosecuted for murdering my neighbor, guess what? I murdered my neighbor, but I'm not going to jail. It's really that simple to me. I mean, talk to me. Let me know. Let me know what y'all thinking. If y'all are thinking. I mean, are y'all like mixed? Are y'all happy? Are y'all mad? It's funny because I was asked about doing this yesterday by a friend of mine, and I'm hoping she joins because she's gonna be mad if she finds out that I'm doing this and I didn't tell her. So I apologize in advance. But like, what's up? Y'all excited? I'm not. No judgment. No judgment. Y'all excited about him being free, and why? Are y'all upset that he's free, and why? Or are you upset at the people who are happy that he's free? Those are the three questions. Don't everybody chime in at once. It's not like it's a lot of y'all watching. I'm not going to sit here and act like I told the world I was going to do this. I just decided to do it. So chances are most of y'all are going to see this after the fact. But that's, that's kind of my first little thing, this first little topic. It's one of them things I just kind of got to get out my system. So I just did. So I appreciate y'all for, I would say riding with me, but I'm sitting here chilling. I'm just smoking a cigar in the backyard. All right, Raisin. Happy belated birthday, good brother. What's going on with you? You missed part of the commentary. You see me representing out here. I mean, fam, using the swag now, baby. I'm backyard pimping. I'm chilling hard today too. So I work from home. And like I got on basketball shorts. My knee hurts, so I can't lift up my foot. But I got on. Hold up. Oh, did I step in shit? Is that shit on the bottom of my shoe? Can y'all see that? Is that shit? I hope that ain't shit. I bet you it is. I have dogs. Chances are it's shit. I missed it. I didn't pick it up. But anyway. Yeah, man. So that's my first topic. I said what I had to say. If y'all see this later, feel free to comment, chime in. For those that just joined, how y'all feel about Bill Cosby being free? Are you happy he's free? Are you mad he's free? Or are you mad at the people who are happy he's free? Um, I guess, or are you happy? Being happy about the people who's happy he's free is pointless. Because if you're happy he's free, then of course you're happy about the people happy he's free. But if you're y'all see the calculations going on, smoke on top of my head. But if you're mad he's free, are you just mad that he's free, or are you just mad at the people who's happy he's free, or maybe both of those? I guess because I'll be honest, and I hadn't really said it, but I kind of said it in so many words. I'm not I'm not mad that he's free. I'm really not. And here's why. At the end of the day, we quote unquote are supposed to trust the law. Now that law is flawed. So you know, Algernon, I know it is. I know it's a lot to text. If you if you if you want, I can send a link. You can join this. You can join this with me. If you want to chime in, I can I can actually hold on. Peep this. Anybody else wants to join the stream, whether you're on IG or Facebook, let me know. Hold on. Algernon, I'm gonna send you a message, brother. You can get on here with me, man. We can chop it up. Let me know what you're thinking. Hold on. There you go. Just sent you a link on Facebook that will get you here. That will get you chimed into where I am on my laptop, not on Instagram. Instagram, I just have up for those, really for my cigar smokers, man. I'm just having a conversation. Oh, about to lose the phone. Everything. Hold up. I got one little Beyonce light, y'all, and it's tripping on me right now. The spring broke, so the phone, if it go up and down, you know why. But anyway, so Algernon, you should have the hold on. Send it to a couple other people really quick who may want to join. And we will go from there. So, what y'all thinking? Yeah, I saw the great art. I saw you, brother. I saw you. You're fine, baby. So, yeah, brother, I saw the gray, man. It's all good. Yeah, Algernon, you'll pop up as soon as it's ready. It'll pop up here. We'll get you in here, and then you'll be able to turn off of Facebook because you might get some feedback. You should be able to join from phone or from your laptop, whichever you choose, good brother. But yeah, man, like I said, it's folks that are really it's called Restream. You might need to you might have to join from a laptop if possible. I don't know that it works with an iPhone. I know it works with Android. I don't know if it works with an iPhone, but it works with a laptop obviously too, because that's what I'm on. But for those who just snuck in here though, like I said, it's really about the three options about how you feel about Bill Cosby being free. You're either happy he's free, you're upset he's free, or you're probably upset at the folks that are happy he's free. And I'd say it's a mix for me for a couple reasons. And I already touched on them reasons, but what everybody else at?
I have a plan. They went to the store with Julian.
Oh, they walked with him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You left?
Yeah. He came out. He came out and asked me for money.
I asked him, did Mike know you left? He said, I didn't tell him. I was like,
He asked me for money. Well, I figured he left. I mean, unless he wanted to like get money from me and just sit in the house and look at it. Like, ooh, I got money. Sit on the couch. Like, hey, I got money. Anyway,
Wait, I don't have my phone. God dang it.
all right, y'all, my bad. I'm back. Little home management. Um, so yeah, like I said, man, I'm mixed. I'm mixed on how I feel because, you know, I'm not. I'll say it like this: I'm not mad that he's free. Definitely not happy he's free because he admitted to what he did. But the laws and the tech, you know, the technicalities behind behind why he's free, you know, that's a testament to, you know, that's a testament to the system and how the, you know, how the system, you know, fails. And the sad part is it's failed so many people the wrong way, right? It failed him to his benefit, but it fails everybody else, you know, the wrong way. So I mean, there's that, right? We can't ignore that. But you know, at the same time, he admitted to what he did. So you know, you got to process that, and you know, you got to look at that, you know, realistically. Like I said, I had alluded to it earlier. Like, you know, I take no. Okay, I'm getting all kind of little bleeps here. Oh, you know what? That's my Facebook. That's why. But but um, but so you have, you know, the fact that he essentially admitted to it. He, you know, he said, "Here's what I did," in exchange, essentially for freedom. Um, and that's the part that, you know, that bothers me because he did. I mean, what 50 Cent say in Power, whatever they said he did that shit. Well, he said he did that shit. So, you know, you gotta process that, you know, in your own way. I never tell anybody how to feel, right? I'll never put anybody in a situation where they have to make a decision on how they feel, and I'm not going to judge them for that because I've heard other people, you know, talk about their issue was that the system finally got beat by somebody, and I understand that. I understand that wholeheartedly. Um, Someone beat the system. Ironically, it was, you know, the Jello Pudding Man, right? But the downside to that is, again, he said exactly what he did, and what he admitted to doing is a crime. Put whatever label you want to put on it, but it's a crime. So you gotta think about that. But for now, I'll leave that part as it is, and I could have got that, by the way. I'll leave that part as it is, and you know, we'll move on. But my next step, next point, I talked about FAMU joining the SWAC. We're representing FAMU today. Okay, we finally got my boys joining. Hold on, let me bring them in. There you go.
Big Mike,
Algernon, what's up, brother?
how you feeling, baby? Everything's good. Good to see you, Rattler.
You too, man. You see, I'm representing today, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rep-
You got to tell me where I can get that.
Jasmine James. I actually bought it from
Okay.
her. I bought it from Jasmine James at Homecoming, like 2017, I think.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But you can
Okay.
tell it's been washed a few times because you know that the sleeves starting to creep up on me a little bit. You know what I mean?
What? But yeah, we trying to work on something for for Miami.
Yeah, I'm me down there. I got a sip and smoke that Thursday.
Right. 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 Right.
Sip and smoke that Thursday. Then it's a couple parties at the host hotel. Like FAMU alumni is hosting those, and then that Saturday it's a day party. It's a luau day party. Um,
I saw y'all was doing that.
yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we got some stuff going on, man. We got some stuff going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, talk to me, brother. What you thinking?
Well, the first thing is I don't want to seem all over the place with it, but it's so complex and it's so layered that that when you talk about it, people need to compartmentalize the conversation because it just doesn't encompass if he did it, if he didn't do it, are we happy that he's free and not free? Because obviously first of all, we're dealing with a setting when actors and actresses were engaging in that type of behavior. That's where that whole back in the day they used to call it Spanish fly.
Yep.
That's where that came. But the thing that didn't set with me in the beginning, right, is that in these circles that Bill was traveling in, the people that introduced him to this life was never mentioned. Who is Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis, and Sammy?
Right.
They brought him into this life. They introduced this to him. How do I know this? Because in songs, and if you're into jazz and the big band movements and these documentaries and stuff, they talked about all this and the people that they brought into their circles and things that they did in these hotels. And when back then in the 50s and 60s, when a residency, before Vegas became a thing, they were doing these residencies in different places, got hot. What? Why not then talk about the people that who introduced him to this stuff, who was white? One.
Right.
So fine. So of course, Bill being integrous and a real honorable man, I don't believe was shot out a true friend, right? Because that's not what friends do. So
Right.
fine. The women came forward. Again, not saying what he did or did not do. The troubling part about that is I believe all of these women, besides one, had been given some type of monetary. I don't want to call it compensation because
Yep.
I don't. Whatever that word is, that they came to a deal that whatever happened between them
Yeah. It's a
would,
settlement.
yeah, it would not move forward. So fine, you were paid off. So what? 30 years later, right? These 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 feelings come about, these emotions come about, and now I'm going to break my contract that I said I was going to establish with you about leaving the past in the past.
Yep.
So that's the third thing. The fourth thing, the Pandora's box, which whether it's true or not, but it still needs to be dealt with, was the whole NBC thing. Is there
Hmm.
truth to that? I mean, people in the industry that believe that him purchasing NBC, which owns a whole lot of subsidiary companies like GE and all of these big time companies that are under NBC, he would then own. Is there some conspiracy theory in there? Some folks believe so. Put a pinhole there. That that's why folks believe that Mike died because of all of the rights and stuff that folks are trying to get into. I digress. But
Right.
but to get to your question, um, um, am I happy? Should we be happy that he's free? And this is where um,
Yes,
the
Nikki.
the thing about being a black man comes in play for me, is that we've been wronged and shitted on and not been given a fair shake for so long. It just seems like when a brother is free, regardless of what they have done
Hmm.
and became free, we feel like it's justice, and that's where an educated, spiritual, everything that a person is, everything that who I am, then comes into question. So then, what people do not to have to wrestle with all that stuff is just leave it alone. That they don't talk about it like we're doing now, because it's so many layers. It's so much stuff to unpack, and at the end of the day, is Bill's life really gonna impact what we do on a daily basis? So all right, he out, I'm cool. We're just gonna leave it alone.
Right. So hold on. So like for me, and I hear everything you're saying. I hear it. Like I know, I've been, I've been talking to folks. I try not to get into it too heavy, because I know some folks are super emotional about it, obviously, and mostly women, and rightfully so. But I know some women that are supporting him too, that are happy about him being free too, and mostly probably for everything you said. Like I get it, like I get that the system has done us wrong for so long. Like that's the first, that's kind of my first point in understanding like what other folks are saying. It's done us dirty. Some another one of my friends brought up Meek Mill. You know, um, so it's like, I don't see it the same way. But as far as the system goes, I mean, that judge flat out had it out for him. Like
Yeah.
that judge had a personal vendetta against him. So when you're in that type of situation, if anything, the judge should have been recused, and let's deal with the things that he also knows that he did, right? Um, now I'm not trying to say let's lock all these brothers up. No, not at all, because there's already enough of us locked up for the wrong reasons, you know. And that's my point with the system. How the system has done so many of us wrong. Like the system was wrong with him. It did him wrong. I mean, technically, he should not have been locked up because he admitted to what he did. He paid her. And I'm talking about the 2004 incident.
Right.
That's what the deposition was. Like that happened in '04, not, the 30 some odd years ago. Because some folks said that too. Some folks were like, well, they was partying. That's how they partied back then. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I've been in parties where women have been passed out. Last thing on my mind was having sex with them.
I 100% agree.
You know what I mean? I mean, shit, we've, we've, that was our
Oh,
first, our first experience with drinking, man. Everybody was passed out sometimes,
right.
it just happens. So, and that was just alcohol, not anything, induce,
Right.
Or sedate people. But
Right.
so, I understand, well, that's just how things were. And I 100% agree that, he got it from somebody. He didn't come out, he didn't come out of Philly, like that, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, he was,
Because you wouldn't even know I mean, back then you didn't have access to it unless one, you were in that level of Hollywood, and then being black, somebody would have had to given it to you because they wouldn't have sold it to you or
yep,
given it to you,
yep,
however he laid claim to it. But
yep,
yes,
yep. See, my friend Coffee, and I don't know if you can see her message on the bottom here, but my friend Coffee
I,
says my whole thing is he is old, whether he did it or not at this point. Can he do it again? And then she says, if anything, if you take a drink from him, is it his fault? So now I can't count on my hands, feet, hairs on my body how many times somebody brought me a drink, right? And we just lost Al for some reason, but um, I mean, I throw parties. Sometimes I let people in free. Sometimes their payment is, let me get you a drink. I mean, I had an event. It wasn't my event, but I was working a cigar event on Saturday, and one of my homies hadn't seen him in a minute. He said, "Oh, what you drinking?" I was like, "Give me one of these, good brother." Shout out to Donovan West. Um, he just walked up and was like, "Yo, let me buy you a drink." I know Donovan West. I trust Donovan West. Like, and God forbid, and Donovan West is like the epitome of a good dude in Philadelphia. And God forbid he put something in my drink, right? Would people believe it? Probably not. So, I know he wouldn't, but I'm just saying because I know him, right? But it's always the, you know, it's always the, oh well, not Bill Cosby, right? It's one of those things where, you know, you you can't, you don't expect it. So if obviously now Bill Cosby can't hand nobody a drink right now, nobody. His wife probably won't take a drink from him right now, and I don't even mean that to be funny, but yeah, and Nikki says the same thing. Like if you were handed a drug, you know, did you say no? Of course they didn't. So it's like, my thing to that too, it all boils down to the same thing. If you get yourself to a point where you're inebriated, you're sedated, you're out of control, you don't know, you don't have your wits about you, and someone takes advantage of you, is that your fault too? Like, that's the part that, that's the part that it boils down to that for me. I've been in situations, I've had, women drunk, passing out, and I'm like, well, I ain't getting none tonight. Basically, that's my attitude. To me, that's a man's attitude. That's a respectful man's attitude. So some men think otherwise. A lot of them are in jail because they should be. So, there's a lot to okay, Algernon's coming back. There's a lot to I don't know what happened, Al, but there's a lot, there's definitely a lot to unpack with that. I was still kind of going through the, if you take a drink from them, or if someone hands you a drug, like if you take that drug, where's the liability? So it boils down to, you see someone in a state, what state they're going to be in because you know what you gave them. Even if they said, okay, I'll take it. Like, once it's all done, like what point, and Coffee brings up another good point, like when a woman is like sedated, half sleep or whatever, is the sex even fun, right? Like that's a whole nother, it's a great question. That's a whole nother thought. Like, I'm not having sex somebody just made it.
Yeah, I think that's where mental illness come in, because if the whole, well, I don't want to get into the whole conversation of a sexual act, but it's supposed to be a mutual enjoyable experience where both parties are enjoying and actively experiencing the situation. And I can't imagine if somebody's comatose and you getting your rocks off, that's an enjoyable experience.
Yeah,
and I think, in my mind, there would have to be something wrong with you mentally for you to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it, man. It's like, at that point, it's a real life, sex doll. Like, and I guess maybe whatever. I can't get inside of nobody's brain to go to that point. I just know that I can never get, to that point. So, that, and again, that's the other side of it. So I mean, we got someone finally beat the system. Okay, yay, somebody beat the system. But in this case, maybe they shouldn't have. But that's neither here nor there because it's done. But I think from a folks quick to celebrate, folks quick to jump on the whole free bill, and I'm seeing all these posts, and all of a sudden now Bill's like, whatever. That's the part I also can't ride with. Like, again, I'm not mad. I'm not mad he's out of jail. I'm not. I mean, at the end of the day, they messed up. He's not out of jail because of anything he did. He's out of jail because they messed up.
Right.
They knew they shouldn't have prosecuted based on his admission and based on his paying them folks off. I mean, that's probably why Donald Trump's not in jail too, to be quite honest. So, you know, so there's that. But you know, I guess I'm more, you know, getting into those questions. I'm more surprised by the folks that are excited about him being out. But
why is that?
Because a part of me feels like they're essentially championing this dude who admittedly drugged women for sex. However, some of them have defended their glee by saying that very thing. We beat the system. Like, that's how some of them feel. They feel like we, as black men, beat the system. And I
agree with that. Yeah.
I understand it. I understand it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't really beat the system. It's like, think about basketball. If you know, if I'm going down the court and you know I got a wide open layup that I never miss, and my team is down 1, and I missed that wide open layup, yeah, you guys got the win, but I beat myself. Y'all didn't beat me. And the system is the one they missed that layup, wide open layup, or free throw, whatever. You know, the most simple shot you can think of in the game. You know, or you know, if you want to go to football, you know, you down by 4 points, and your running back is running down the sideline with no time on the clock, and he trips and falls out of bounds right before the end zone. You know what I mean? Like,
KL just brought up a good point, Mike.
What's that?
Are we praising Bill or are we praising Heathcliff? And that's a very valid point, because sometimes we can celebritize an individual, but we don't know who they are in real life, and we can become fascinated or captivated by the character and not the true character of the individual, because we don't know them. All we know of Mr. Cosby, well, besides the few of us that in a few settings, you know, in a mega circles have been around him, but still not knowing him. We know him from TV.
Exactly. Think about how many other people have done so many other things that, because of their character that we see, or because of what they do on a field or on a basketball court or whatever, we don't know them personally. We don't know what goes through their mind. We have no idea, you know, what they're thinking. And I think that, you know, that puts us in that position. That's a great, you know, that's Kendall, actually. That's one of my high school classmates. You know, that's a great point. Like, folks don't really know Bill. I mean, some people do, but
Mommy will be back.
Cigar don't went out. You know, but most people don't, and clearly they don't, because if they knew Bill, I guarantee you they would have no idea that he'd ever be caught up in something like this.
Right.
He has material that talks about Spanish Fly. You brought that up earlier. So, you know, but they say there's always truth in jokes, right?
Right. And if we listen hard enough to Dick Gregory spoke quite frank of Mr. Cosby before Bill became Heathcliff.
Yep.
Or the pudding pop guy. So if we listen hard enough and frequent enough, there are people out there that will either speak to our character or speak about our character, whether someone want to listen to it or not. But it's out there.
Yep. Now, and my boy Art, another fellow classmate and Morehouse grad at that, you know, he talked about the statute of limitations, and how, you know, they didn't necessarily have to put him in jail. They could have put him on house arrest because of his age. You know, and they wanted to make an example of him because he's Bill Cosby. You mentioned something like that earlier, you know, wanting to take him, not so much take him out, but, you know, the rumors about, you know, the NBC stuff and all of that good stuff too. I don't disagree with that either. I mean, I think about Michael Vick and what he did. and you know he served the max sentence for what he did because of who he was. Guarantee it. And you know the thing I'll say about that is, you know, that I can't get my head around wanting to do something like that to an animal, right? You know, not that it's the quote unquote same as as rape or aggravated sexual assault, or I forget the actual charge. It was like aggravated something.
Yeah.
It was like aggravated something assault. I don't even think they put sexual in it actually. But yeah, I mean, you know, I know for sure it wouldn't have been on the news because guess what? That stuff happens every single day, and we never hear about it because it wasn't Bill Cosby, you know, or it wasn't Michael Vick, or it wasn't Mike Tyson, or it wasn't Harvey Weinstein, or whatever. So I 100% agree that, you know, they made an example. I guess I don't care.
Right.
Because if my boy does it, guess what? That's not my boy no more. It's not. Because I can't roll with nobody like that. I can't. So, you know, there's a lot, you know, to understand with that. And my homegirl Yaz on Instagram, she says, you know, what do we say about those who knew what he was doing, but, you know, still made the decision to go back and see him after hours at his home? Exactly. You have to know, you know, what you're dealing with. You have to know what you're allowing yourself to do. I don't disagree with that either. Again, you know, I'm not I'm not necessarily saying that everybody's perfect in this situation. The fact that, you know, it sat for as long as it did, it sat for so long, and folks just kind of, you know, let it go, right? You know, I can't speak to the mind of a woman who, you know, was in the situation once and maybe went back. I can't put myself in their mind. I know women who've been sexually assaulted, and I know that it's hard for them to even think about, let alone talk about. They're afraid to, you know, and especially back then. I guess I'm kind of answering your question too, Yaz. Especially back then, I'd be willing to bet that they were afraid to admit that happened. And I think that's why you suddenly get all these people coming out of the woodwork. Did it happen to all of them? I have no idea. I don't. But if he admitted to, you know, essentially, and I have the exact quote that he gave. I don't want to say it wrong, but he was specifically asked, you know, did you give these drugs to women that you wanted to have sex with? And he said yes. And then there was this follow-up question that his lawyer wouldn't let him answer, and I forget the details of that follow-up question, but it was very very incriminating. I mean, not that the first one wasn't, but you know, he knew better. But maybe he didn't. I don't know.
But you know, the pink elephant of all that has gone down, that we, if folks have spoke to it, family, it was very early on, is that how is Camille? Because if you think about it, that they were a power couple in their own right, and
she was a real life Claire.
Like, yeah, and to and again, without knowing her family dynamics, her friends dynamics, she's really been left to fend for herself in all of this.
Yep.
And what I mean by herself is, we're not having conversations about how we feel about Camille. We're still talking about Bill, but in all of this, we have this woman whom, either knowingly or not knowingly, or found out, or maybe some things was confirmed, that your husband may have been a sexual predator and this world that you all have created, and your philanthropy, uh, or have began, has now diminished, and she was actually starting to come more to the forefront
Right.
once he started on this black parenting kit. Remember when that started, when he started, she actually started speaking out more to try to take some of that shit or shinola, whatever words you want to leave off of what he was doing in that coming after the black community, as people were saying. So I just feel not sorry for her, but we need to keep her in light as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's a good point. And I know through a lot of it, there was some focus on her at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about her standing beside him and, a lot of that stuff. And I'm like, at a point in her life, she chose that's who she was going to be with for the rest of her life. And, you know, she is probably the epitome of for better or for worse, because I can't think of much worse. I'm sure there's some things that are close and potentially worse, but I can't think of a worse situation to have to deal with as a spouse, on either side. But again,
And at that age,
exactly, so to be a woman, a wife of a man who is, doing what he's doing to these women, to at least doing what he admitted that he was doing. Again, folks, folks are real technical, but at the end of the day, read the deposition. He said what he said, right? So there's a lot to consider there, but I see nothing but strength in her. What they deal with behind closed doors, I don't know. What goes on,
right?
From thanks, Yas. From a just from overall from a I can only imagine what we complain about stuff, right? as individuals, and removing celebrity from it, because celebrity does add a different element. I get, but we complain about small stuff, right? But like if you sit back and you're like, I never had to deal with nothing like that, and I don't want to. The moment you realize, like, wow, I've never had to deal with that, and I don't want to. You're, whether you realize it or not, you're paying so much respect and invoking, like, subliminally, so much strength in her, because I think she knows that, she knows what she's dealing with.
Right.
She knows what she's got to deal with. I mean,
Right.
at the end of the day, I don't know how old she is, but I know he's he's 83 now.
Yeah, 83. Yeah, 83. Yeah. But let me ask you a question, Mike, and it's only off of what one of my boys has started talking with his daughter. We know that your beautiful, intelligent daughter who successfully navigated the University of Georgia as a college athlete. Uh, did you have a conversation with her in knowing how much we enjoyed the college life? Did you have the talk with her before she went to school? Look, when you go to these parties, if you leave a drink, if you don't see nobody make the drink, don't drink it. If you put something down and you leave it, don't come back to it. Don't let nobody get. Did you have that talk with her?
Yep. Napkin over the cup.
Yeah.
Put the straw through it. I mean, and she's been down to FAMU homecoming as a late teen. She's been to FAMU homecoming a few times. So I mean, she got to see that party side. But yeah, for sure, 100%. I mean, her. I have another daughter that's 19. I've talked to her about it. I have a bonus daughter that's 18. I've talked to her about it. Not specifically Bill Cosby, but just that conversation in general. Because I mean, Bill Cosby, his situation is huge because of who he is. But I mean, that this has been around, forever, right? I mean, I said it earlier. I mean, we come up, we came up when there was a campaign out there that said no means no.
Right.
You know, so
Mhm.
we kind of we got it, right? I mean, and I guess apparently there was some that didn't get it, and there still are some that don't get
Right.
it. But,
Right.
it to me it takes a especially fucked up type dude to take something,
Mhm.
regardless of how you take it, whether it's
Mhm.
by by deception, whether it's by inebriation or just physical force. Like, there's no part of that I could ever respect. So, and that's before I had daughters. I mean, like I said, we had after school specials growing up. We dealt with
Mhm.
that kind of stuff, through
Mhm.
TV, some of the TV shows, through the Cosby Show. Like,
Mhm.
we got to see some of those things that were going on in the world. And I think, maybe we were more impressionable, or maybe just me. When I saw something on TV that was serious like that, like,
Mhm.
I was, we're the cops and robbers era, right? So,
Mhm.
we were the good guys versus the bad guys era. So, I always kind of sided with the good guys. It wasn't until I got older that I started to appreciate villains in movies, right? But the mob movies and some of that other stuff, like you see the personality of these people, and you kind of start to kind of gravitate towards them from a rooting interest. But in the end, what's wrong, and what they're doing is wrong. So, in this case, in real life, to me, it's just no different. Like,
Mhm.
he did some wrong, and I mean, at the end of the day, he's being punished for it. Like, I'm not gonna sit
Mhm.
here and act like he didn't sit in the jail cell. I'm not gonna sit here and act
Mhm.
like he didn't lose, a
Mhm.
lot of what he gained from a
Mhm.
from a you know from a from a praiseworthy status. I
Mhm.
mean, a lot of his honorary degrees are gone. A lot of his endorsements obviously are gone. He'll probably never, get he'll probably never get a TV show. Then again, the way the world works, he might. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah. So Copy said, I guess beyond the lack of consent, there was an understanding that he could just be Bill and do what he wanted when they weren't together. Is it cheating or more? Right, right. Like, I don't doubt that, and I'm not. I don't study the minds of these people, but what I what you see a lot of times is people that do these types of things, whether it's by drug or force or really mental manipulation.
Mhm.
Um, they're usually a certain type of person, even if they're
Mhm.
not super famous. They have a certain trait about them, whether it's narcissistic, or whether they have this God complex, or just an
Mhm.
overall I am, you know, I'm in control.
Mhm.
I think a lot of those traits come into play, and it puts I think it puts them in a position of power in their minds, and no doesn't mean no to them. Basically, I think that's what it boils down to. There's no such thing as no. When you got
Mhm.
somebody who is because of their comedic talent, because of their philanthropy, because of the things that they do in the community or did, they feel like they're above the law, right?
Mhm.
So, for the same reason some of these cops are out here killing people. Um,
Mhm.
they feel like they're above the law, so they can do what they want to do. What's going to happen? History shows that nothing usually happens. So this time something happened. Ironically,
Mhm.
this year, Chauvin went to jail. He was sentenced for 22 and a half years, right? Was that enough? Who knows? That's another discussion for now. But it's. I think the world is way more sensitive than it used to be.
Mhm.
The world is not, I'm the man, you're the woman, I'm in control, you're not. It's not that type of society anymore. So I think some of that comes into play too. I think there was some mental vulnerability in some of these
Mhm.
women, for sure. I mean, somebody asked the question earlier,
I
but
was going to, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I think that mental vulnerability definitely comes into play. I think the celebrity, um,
It
the
played a
celebrity
part.
element. There's women who
Yeah.
fall all over these celebrities because
Yeah.
they're celebrities. So I get it,
Yeah.
100%. I get it.
And
And
we're not victim shaming. Is it is what it is. That's
yeah,
a real thing.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Mhm.
And now Copy was asking, what is it to Camille from Camille's perspective? You know, that was
Right,
what her question was about.
right, right.
Was he cheating? Or was it more than that? And maybe to her, it's a good point, Coffee. Maybe to her, maybe it was just, all right, well, he's cheating on me. How many women get cheated on and stay with their husband? That happens all the time. So, maybe that was a piece of it. I mean, maybe Camille was, again, I don't even want to try to demean her in any way, but maybe she got it. Maybe she's like, well, look, these women want him. Let me go ahead and let him get his rocks off because he's coming home. Who knows?
Mm. But in hearing her question, the two people that popped up, the two men that popped up in my mind, and the same wording from their wives instantly popped up in my mind. The first popped up in my mind was Ray Charles, and the second one was Martin Luther King. When their wives clearly knew when they were away from them what they were doing, they both said in different aspects of their relationships is that I know what you're doing, don't bring it home.
Yep.
And
That's it. Yep.
and I can only understand that when you're that big as Bill was, and Bill was probably the Paul to Jesus for us in the black community, besides Martin
For
Luther
a long
King.
time.
And before Obama came along, it was Martin Luther King and Bill Cosby. If you want to talk about rating people, but I can only imagine as big as he got and his influence around the world that there was an element of there that, hey, if we're gonna do this, I'll take it, but just don't bring me no babies,
Mhm.
don't bring this into my house, and we good. And you see when this came out, she moved out.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
in that 40-50 plus year marriage, when he brought it home, I mean, she left. So that, whether you want to call it, he broke the
Yeah.
he broke the rules, or that was the last straw, or whatever it was. She did take that step of leaving the home before he went to jail.
Yep. That's it. So yeah, man. I mean, I appreciate you bringing her up because I think she kind of gets she gets forgotten. But to be honest, and maybe it's wishful thinking, but my guess is she's fine. And I don't
Um,
mean that. I don't mean that in the sense of, you know, whatever, you'll get over it, woman. Not at
right,
all.
right,
I think
right.
it's, you know, she might almost be relieved. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to deal with this man no more if I don't want to. Our living children are grown and doing
Oh
their
my
own
goodness,
thing.
excuse me.
So, I think from that perspective, I think she's probably okay. But if she's not, one more, shout out to Camille, because you know she's a real one, no doubt. So I think we lost you for a second. It looks like you're doing something over there, but while you doing that, Coffee, what you talking about, Coffee? I have quoted, and I'm not famous, nor have I dated someone that was famous beyond their own mind. What you do when we are not together doesn't matter. Just be sure that you don't ask me any questions. That is very, very much a Coffee response. um, but yeah, like if you're, and again, I'll move away from, you know, the sexual assault aspect of it, and just go into like cheating and infidelity, right? OM Cigars, what's up, good brother? I haven't forgotten about you, by the way. We still got to talk, man. But I'll move away from rape, sexual assault, and that side of it. Just infidelity and cheating in general. Um, you can't worry about what someone else is doing. Um, I got, one of my partners, BT, we've had conversations about this a lot. And, he said, you can't keep a woman that don't want to be kept, and that's just men speaking about women who cheat. But on the flip side, you can't keep a man that don't want to be kept either. So, people are going to do exactly what they want to do. And, within that space, do you want to spend your life worrying about what somebody else is doing when they're not with you every single second they're not with you? You're going to make yourself crazy. So that's where security and confidence comes in, where, go do what you want to do. If I find out about it, pretty much we're probably done. And vice versa. I do what I got to do. And if it's something that's against, our rules or whatever, I got to deal with that consequence too. So, but I'm not gonna, couples should be able to have conversations about things. Couples should be able to talk about whatever's on their mind. If you have a question, with your significant other about something that they're doing, you should be able to ask that question. But you can't be accusatory because you don't know. Short of flat out catching somebody doing something, that's different, right? You walk in on somebody and they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. That's a little different. But the reason it's called cheating, basically, if you play in a sport, and I'm always go to sports because I'm a sports player. If you're playing basketball and you're constantly allowed to get away with taking 4 steps to take a shot instead of 2 steps, the referee is cheating and you cheat. If you're playing football and you're filming the other team's walkthroughs and know their plays, that's cheating. So in a relationship, if you're doing something unknowingly, like if your spouse says, you know what, go ahead, go do what you got to do, be with who you want to be with, I'm fine with it. We have that type of relationship. Then it's not cheating anymore. If you're married, it's still adultery. Folks forget that. But if your spouse is okay with it, if your partner is okay with it, and y'all have that communication and you're open about it, it's not cheating. But the moment you do stuff that they don't approve of and you still do it, that's when it's cheating. A lot of folks get caught up with that. Folks ask questions all the time about, oh, well, if you see somebody that's married out with somebody else and you're friends with both of them or you're friends with their spouse, do you say something? It's not your business because you don't know that situation, right? They might have that open. For one, it might not be anything. It might be a legitimate, honest, we're having a conversation over dinner or a drink or whatever, because you should be able to do that. But you don't know that situation. They might have an open marriage or open relationship and they're not really telling everybody. And, maybe your friend didn't tell you. So how close are y'all that, they have that relationship and they didn't tell you? But, folks get themselves caught up in other people's business a bit more than they should be. And I think that's an important thing to know and understand in that space from a folks doing what they want to do perspective. But again, that's up to and in between the parties involved. I try not to put myself in that position at all. I mean, I've been out, I've seen people that I know are married and I know they're with somebody else and it's nighttime. It's not lunch. It's not dinner. It's, it's 1, 2 in the morning. I see it and I'm like, okay, well, it's not my business. So do what you want to do. I won't ask no questions. I'm gonna say hello when I see you. I'll make sure you see me, but it's not my business because it's you could do more damage than good in that scenario. Not knowing the whole story. So there's that. But Shell, what's up, Shell? I got my IG going up here too. So, but yeah, man. I don't know if anybody got any. I know
I didn't get a snack by with that ham sandwich.
we got some additional guests over there, man.
Huh?
So we got some additional guests over there.
Bro, I had to jump up real quick. I had some steak and lamb on the grill, and I was like, I forgot about it, and I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, the kids, they normally eat by 7, so they're like, okay, what you doing? and
Right.
But no, bro. I thank you for welcoming to the conversation. You know, it's some conversation I've been wanting to have, but you know, even even in our household, the thoughts are are all over the place about how we feel. You know, about the release of Mr. Cosby and and you know, as you had shared some stuff, you know, later on that I mean you shared some stuff early on that when it caused when it when it's about to cause contention in the house, we don't even talk about it because somebody else's mess gonna bring
Hmm.
gonna bring some unnecessary contention in our house. Let's just leave it alone.
Yeah.
It ain't about us. Let's just leave it in the media and let let them deal with it however they're gonna
Exactly.
deal with it and so
Exactly.
forth. But yeah, so I just left it alone. But I've been all over the place with it because you know he is my frat brother, and I'm glad that my bro free. But yeah, it's some other dynamics in the play. There's some Christian principles there, some basic to you know you spoke on it before. There's just some basic manhood stuff
Yeah.
that regardless of the situation, regardless of the openness of the place that you are, there's just certain things that as a man that I shouldn't do and will not do
Right.
and won't do.
Right. And that's it. I mean, for me, it boils down to that. So,
Mhm.
everything else, like I said, man, folks, I mean, system is what it is. I have my issues with the system. I can remember when all of this came up, and I'm like, man, you know, they going after Bill, they gonna make an example of Bill, blah 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 blah. I said all those things back then, and a part of me didn't want to believe that he was capable. I shouldn't say that. A part of me didn't want to believe that he would do anything like what he said he did. Um, and that's kind of the part that just kind of got to me because you know, again, not that I didn't know my dad, none of that kind of stuff, but growing up, my dad was in Florida, I was home, and watching the Cosby Show, I'm like, that's a dad, right? On the Cosby Show, that's a dad. I still got quotes from the Cosby Show I use with my kids all the time because that's what was ingrained in me, right? So, from that perspective, it's like, all right, well, I got mad love for Heathcliff Huxley. I don't know why it's hard for me to talk today. But I can't necessarily say the same for Bill Cosby. So, I love the character. The character is what it is. The writing was what it was. I'm smart enough to be able to separate the two. As a kid, obviously I couldn't, but as a kid, it was everything. Like I ran track. He was always at the Penn relays. You know what I'm saying, in Philly. So like there's a lot of pieces to that just you know, made him a hero, right? Because our generation, I mean, we're too young for Martin Luther King. We know Martin Luther King. We learn about him, but we're too young to know, to have seen him. We're too young to have seen Malcolm X you know, depending on who else you want to consider, like the Marcus Garveys of the worlds, or the James Baldwin's and folks of that nature. We're too young. Like we didn't witness them. So our generation, like Martin Luther King would have been alive during our childhood had he not been murdered. Malcolm X would have been alive. I mean, they both were murdered, not long before we were born. So we didn't really have heroes. Like our heroes, unfortunately, were celebrities. You know, in some cases, athletes. We didn't think about it. I mean, who do we really have? I mean, maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but the educational heroes weren't really put in the forefront for us. I mean, we had our own personal, private
Right.
heroes growing up. Like
It
some of
was
my
it was
teachers.
more our neighbors, but the only real celebrity that we had was like Jesse.
Mhm. Right, Jesse Jackson. And I mean, he
And
had,
Al Sharpton was a punchline back then, so we can't really even say Al. It was Jesse,
right, right.
and
So
then Jordan,
yeah, right.
and then everybody
Jordan,
else.
right. And I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, it was Michael Jordan. And then, you know, when we're in college and I'm starting to hear about all of these issues, you know, this off the court stuff that he's dealing with, and I'm just like, well, damn, because back then I didn't drink, I didn't smoke these, right? um, so yeah, like it was, you know, that was even hard for me to be like, well, damn, you know, Jordan out here doing all of this mess too, you know, and then even, you know, and obviously I won't say names, but I had a close friend, you know, whose dad was like a dad to me, and you know he had some transgressions on his marriage, and that hit me hard as hell, you know. So I'm just like, well, what the hell, you know, like, is this the norm? Is this what it's supposed to be? You know, like, so there's a you know there's a lot of that folks don't really realize, but you know the big picture, man. And I've said it, you know, who are our heroes? It wasn't until, you know, like you mentioned it, Barack Obama, like to me that was like the first like real like non-celebrity hero that we had. And I mean, even with him, he was really a hero because he became president, you know, and it was, you know, we've never seen a black president, and we might not for a long time. You know, but it's like, you know, the kids need somebody, you know, they need somebody to look up to. And you know what I tell my kids and what I try to do for my kids is be that. Now I'm just dad, right? I'm just the guy in the house. But you know, as my kids age, they see what I'm doing. They see what I do. They see, you know, who I know, who I'm involved with, you know, what I work on. And, you know, they gradually kind of gain a level of understanding and respect. And it's put them in a space of wanting to it, like my norm becomes normal to them. Whereas some kids didn't have a dad that was out there doing stuff, you know, whether it was just social for that matter, right? You know, a lot of kids didn't have a dad that had multiple businesses while working, you know, to understand that, you know, multiple stream of income effects and how you can manage multiple things and be, you know, be the person you need to be at your job every day. You know, just basic stuff, man. And, you know, I think that in a neighborhood, like, I mean, like where I live, I mean, I have neighbors, you know, I have kids on my street, and same thing. I see the kids and I interact with the kids on my street. You know, let's go shoot some ball. Let's, you know, whatever. Even if I'm just sitting out front, you know, what's up, young fella? You know, how you doing, young lady? You know, just kind of say hello and let them know that, you know, they got an old head that's gonna respect them as a person and show them, you know, what a man is, what a man looks like, because some of them don't have that in their house, and I know they don't. I see it. So, you know, there's a lot that it's not that everybody needs to be that way, but I make sure that I try to be a certain way and make it visible, make people see it, make people understand it, because it's not on everybody. Everybody doesn't have it in them to be vocal. Everybody doesn't have it in them to want to be.
All right, guys, come on.
Want to be, you know, the type of guy that, you know, folks trust, right? And look to, whether it's for advice, whether it's for guidance, you know, or anything, man. So, you know, I think that we start in our house, we start on our street, we take it to, you know, we take it to our, you know, our neighborhood, our cities, you know, towns, whatever. You know, that's how we fix a lot of the problems. It starts local and it trickles up. So anyway, what you talking about, Coffee? I'm definitely jaded. Hold on, let me pop this up here so I can read it. Very hard time getting excited about people that are close to me getting married all the time. I just want to say I can't. Y'all just date forever. You don't need help, Coffee. Marriage ain't for everybody. Marriage isn't necessarily something that you have to do. It's a societal pressure that is placed on people that are together. There are benefits. There are pros and cons to everything.
Do you want noodles and chicken?
But I think that I think that we need to be what I like to tell people, man. Like, you got to be the best person you can be. And I got you on mute, Algernon. Just FYI. When I see you pop on the screen, I know you're ready to come back. But if you work on you constantly got to work on yourself. You constantly got to be the best person you can be as yourself, and be happy with that person. Don't put yourself in a position where you feel like you need somebody to be better, or to be complete. You're gonna fail. You'll get lucky sometimes, but you're gonna fail. That's just my opinion. Again, my experience at that. But if you're the best person you can be and you're happy, like I tell my female friends, I tell my daughters, focus on yourself and be the best self you can be and be happy with that. Because I know, just as a man myself, I'm attracted to happy women. I'm attracted, a woman that can smile because she's happy, not smile because someone made her happy. There's a difference. And I think that, that's a secure woman. That's a at her core, a happy person. And those are the type of people that I'm attracted to. Everybody's not like that. Some people want a project per se, men and women. Some women see a man, he got potential. I can get him where I want him to be. Y'all gonna fail. Guarantee it. Y'all gonna fail. If he has half a backbone, y'all gonna fail. So, there's a lot to unravel from that perspective. I get it. But, I can tell you that it's not gonna work. Two complete people make a complete union. That's how it works. And you can be complete in different ways. Some people work well with their opposites. Some people work well with people that are just like them. Everybody's different. They say there's somebody out there for everybody. I believe that. I also believe that dating is practice. For the real thing. Coming from Philly, yes, I'm talking about practice. What's up, Iris? You can always join in if you want. I think you're on the text. I sent you the link if you want to hop in and say something, but I know you ain't all that vocal sometimes, so I'll leave it up to you, Iris. But no, man, it's it's a real thing where two people who are complete within themselves. That's those power couples that you see, right? And not even necessarily celebrity power couples. I got a buddy who's a doctor. His wife's a lawyer, and I don't want to make it about finance, but they do so much together in a community with that because of their influence. So, I know people that I got friends. And his wife is looks like one of my streams stopped. I'm not sure which one, but that's okay. I think we're still on Facebook. But I got it on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, by the way. But he's a teacher, and she's a social worker. Just to go back to the financial aspect, they don't make a lot of money, but they are so happy together, right? They love people. They love helping people, and they do that in some cases together. But it's happiness isn't always finance, man. I mean, obviously, y'all got to be able to pay the bills. I mean, whatever those bills might be, everybody's bills aren't the same. Some of y'all have a mortgage that's $400. Some of y'all have a mortgage that's $4,000. Live within your means to be able to pay your bills, because finance is gonna break y'all too if y'all try to live beyond what you're able to do. But yeah, man. Taken from a guy who's divorced, right? I've been divorced. I've had some failed relationships, but it's all practice, man. It's all practice until you get to the real thing, the real deal. So that's all I got, man. I know there's some folks that said they wanted to kind of chime in a little later. I don't want to hold y'all for too long. Okay, Algernon's back. Hold on, buddy. Hold on.
Hey,
Say that again. Say that again, brother.
I said Miami is gonna be off the chain.
Yeah, shifting gears. Miami Labor Day weekend, man. For y'all, for those of y'all that don't know, FAMU What up, FAMU? I'm backwards in my on my screen. But FAMU plays Jackson State in Miami Labor Day weekend. Jackson State, everybody knows Deion Sanders is coach of Jackson State, blah, blah, blah. FAMU's now part of the SWAC, and we will be in Miami. We will be heavily represented in Miami, doing a sip and smoke with the homie TK. For those cigar smokers out there that know who TK is, doing a little sip and
Hey,
smoke.
Mike,
What up?
and the FAMU side is already sold out. The only tickets are on Jackson State side.
Yup. And watch how much orange and green is going to be on Jackson State side.
Right.
I mean, now mind you, the game's in Florida, so essentially it's home field advantage for FAMU. I don't know how many Jackson State alumni live in Florida. I know a lot of them that are coming, but I guarantee you that it's going to be an orange and green stadium. You know, so speaking of orange and green, y'all go to Infusion Lifestyle Clothing, or I'm sorry, Infusion Lifestyle Brand. I gotta make sure I got the website right. It's my own website. I don't even know the damn website. But we got some orange and green Infusion shirts for y'all. Launch parties in Atlanta, July 17th at Opium / Salt and Pepper Kitchen. It's Opium at the Salt and Pepper Kitchen because I think the old Opium is closed down, so I think they moved their business over to the Salt and Pepper Kitchen. So
Okay, right.
yeah, that's July 17th in Atlanta. So we'll be down there for that. Obviously, like I said, Miami, we got the and real quick, thank you to everybody that supported so far. We did a pre-launch. It's been going on for a little while, and I mean the clothes been literally flying through the website, man. A lot of y'all got your stuff already, and I appreciate y'all. You know, that's real. That's just love and appreciation, man. I mean, it's summertime, so it's hard to want to buy a sweatsuit in the summer. But a lot of people have been buying the t-shirts, and we definitely appreciate it. But folks been buying the sweatsuits. So, but
Come on, Mitchell.
say it again. Oh, he's still talking to kids. But
Oh,
but yeah, so we you know, we definitely appreciate the support. And normally I'd have my partners on here, but I didn't even tell them I was getting on. I just decided to get on here and shout out to the Drunken Corner. What's up? I decided to get on here and just, you know, start chopping it up. I knew the Bill Cosby thing would trigger some folks to have conversation and comment and whatnot. So I appreciate y'all. But yeah, man, Infusion Clothing, InfusionLifestyleBrand.com. Go check it out. If you see something you like, you know, pick something up. Shout out to Ginger Tea Philly. We were supposed to have an event tonight, but it got canceled because of rain. And even though the rain stopped, now it was raining when the event was supposed to start. So we're gonna do that on July 24th at Sunflower Philly. Y'all look up Sunflower Philly. It's a dope urban spot, man. It's real dope. And when I say urban, urban means city. It doesn't mean black. FYI, I don't know whether it's black owned or not. And that wasn't my purpose in saying that. But a lot of people throw the word urban out there when they talk about black people, and I don't like it. So, but it's literally in the heart of like one of the neighborhoods in Philly. So, Sunflower Philly, y'all check out the spot. July 24th, 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. We're doing that. This Sunday on 4th of July, I'll be in Delaware with at the House of Laughs. Shout out to my homie Ugundi Jacobs. House of Laughs is a new comedy club opened up in Philly, but it's also a lounge. So what we'll be doing is got a little party out back, patio, cigars. We got DJ Flow. It's my frat brother, DJ Flow. Kappa DJ1 on Instagram. Kevin Towns on Facebook. DJ Flow. Strange Food Wines. We got shout out to Stacy Stokes. Should be there. Got a lot of other folks gonna be in the building, man. So always got something going on, man. The world is kind of open back up now. I implore y'all to be safe, regardless of what the rules are. You know, if you're vaccinated, if you're not vaccinated, just be safe, be careful, because you know, we don't know. We don't really know. We think we do, and the moment we think we know everything, we get hit with the truth. So, you know, pay attention, be careful, no matter what. You know what I mean? still enjoying this Emperor's Cut Nicaraguan. For those that are inquiring, especially those that are watching on my cigar page, I meant to go live on my Urban Socialite page, but it is what it is. So, how you doing, Drunken Corner? We've been for those who just joined, we've been talking Bill Cosby. We've been talking relationships a little bit because it just kind of came up. You know, I've been talking about some of the events, talking about FAMU in Miami against Jackson State. I refuse to talk about my Sixers. I'm disappointed, but you know, we live to play another season, right? Shout out to Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker. Congrats on getting to the championship. I don't know who you're gonna play yet. Shit, if Trae Young hurt and Giannis Antetokounmpo's hurt, I don't know how that's gonna go, but we'll find out. If it's gonna be, damn, that's a big ass mosquito. If it's gonna be, hold up, Al, my bad. There you go.
What? No. Oh, go ahead and finish your thought, bro.
Oh, I don't even remember. I was talking about a big ass mosquito, and then I saw you pop in.
Can you explain to me, or because I know that you always have a little bit more detail than I am, are those FAMU LeBrons only being released to the athletic department? Is that what I'm to understand?
As
Because
of now,
I called, and they were like, "You just got to keep calling, and hopefully you can get your size."
So my understanding is they're going to be, you know, disseminated to the teams first, but I don't see why Nike and LeBron would team up. I apologize, airplane going by. I don't see why Nike, FAMU, and LeBron would team up without a way to make money. So,
Right.
you know, at some point, they're going to be open to the public for sure. I don't see why they wouldn't. It just would be. I mean, I'm happy that, you know, somebody like LeBron decided to partner up with, you know, with our alma mater. You know, I'll be honest, I didn't necessarily like the shoes, but that's beyond the point. Some people love them. Some people love them.
No, I don't like them. I just like them because they got FAMU on.
Exactly. So I'm more so looking forward to potentially, you know, more versions.
Right.
See what they look like. But if that's all we're gonna get, you know,
Right.
I don't own a pair of LeBrons. I own a lot of things. I don't know if y'all watch Desus and Mero on Showtime, but Desus has like a wall of sneakers behind him. Like, I could do that for sure. I got mad sneaks. But I don't own a pair of LeBrons. But I mean, you know, obviously some FAMUs, yeah. Because that's what I call them. I don't even call them LeBrons. I call them FAMUs.
Right. It's called FAMUs. Right.
The FAMU ones. That's what I call them. So I'll definitely get them.
Look,
But as far as I know, they're not available to the public just
right.
yet. Because I think they came out. I don't know whether I guess the basketball team did have them for last season. I want to say I saw them with a pair, with some on, but they might wait, you know, until this season to release them. That would be my guess. Even though LeBron wore them last season,
Right.
you know, so we'll see.
But yeah, because it's supposed to be what? The 4th, the 5th is next week. This is when you're supposed to start calling.
Yeah. So I'm gonna check my app. I got a little Nike app, a little sneakers app that I get all my like hard to get sneaks from. So you know, I'll get a notification.
Right. Because I've been talking to some folks at Jackson State because, you know, they think they are an equal, but we'll talk about that on a later date. But but they are bringing like 50-something thousand people.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, because remember 2 years ago they brought 7 buses to Bragg.
I didn't go to that game, so I didn't know that. I do know. I will say this about Jackson State.
Not the band, the fans.
Yeah. I will say this about Jackson State, and like all jokes aside, they have a serious following with their football team. Serious. Like their stadium, I think their stadium holds, I don't know, 35,000. They're at capacity every home game.
they have the #1 attendance in
Right.
FCS football.
Right. So, I don't doubt them, being there, showing up for sure. But, from a FAMU perspective,
Right.
They beat us in attendance at our home games for sure, but we travel, and
Right. Mhm.
we, especially to a place like Miami or like Atlanta, like when we had that Atlanta game,
Right.
we flooding the city, dog. So
The Dave Broward and Palm Beach alone.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's home for us, right? It's mad
Right.
people. How many people from Miami like went to fan? Just Miami,
Right.
like you said, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Like all up and down Florida, from all over Florida. So, it's gonna be special. That's for sure. It's gonna be special. So
I'm
we'll
excited.
see.
So you see the hotels have just gotten ridiculous for homecoming, right?
Yeah, man, I saw that.
$500 a night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably shouldn't put the secret out there, but I don't get my hotel until like the week of.
But you wait for the cancellations?
Yep. I mean, I always get a room. Always.
Okay.
Even if I gotta go through Priceline, I always get a room because it's pointless to try to get it now. So I'll just wait, and in worst case, I'll get an Airbnb. Like one year, I got an Airbnb.
Okay.
At the end of the day, what do you really need but a place to sleep and wash?
And wash. That's it.
Because you ain't there, but you ain't there but a couple hours.
Right.
So
right.
So it is what it is. But I'll be in Miami. I'll be at homecoming. Ironically, I thought we were playing Jackson State in Jackson, Mississippi. I was gonna go to that game.
Yeah, we were supposed to last year.
Yeah.
Last season.
Mm-hmm. But because I got a frat brother that owns a cigar lounge there, and we were gonna do a sip and smoke at the cigar lounge.
Okay, I need you to eat, Mitchell.
But
okay.
Oh wait, we got Terrence joining us right here. My bad, T.
Okay. Yeah. So you gonna come to my home city and watch the game now?
Yeah, Terrence live in Miami, so Terrence, don't you, Al?
Terrence who?
Terrence Nunnery.
Let me see your face, T. What up, man?
Hey, what's going on? I ain't had no shirt on, so I didn't think y'all wanted to see that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay. What Method Man? I mean, what Red Man said? All mammal.
Yeah.
What's up, T? It's good to see you, bro.
Hey, man. Same old. Can't complain.
I hear you. How long you been a date now?
3 years, a little bit over 3 years.
Okay.
I was in Atlanta for 16, but
I know that. That's why when you said you were down there, that's why I was like, I don't. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, I ain't never leaving.
Brother,
Just like when Mike say his child graduate, he coming to Florida.
I miss home.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Florida. My twin boys graduate high school. I am out. I'm going. I'm gonna say this. I'm going somewhere south of Orlando. It might not be Florida. It might be an island. It might be an island. But it's gonna be Tampa or lower, and that lower could be Puerto Rico. It could be Dominican Republic. Shit, it could be Cuba. I don't know yet. But this I mean, I love like this time of year. I love it. You know what I mean? It's been 90 degrees every day. I mean, even today. I don't know what the temperature is today because it rained, but it feels great. I love this time of year. But boy, in winter times, man, I'm out of here.
I know.
Where you?
I know this is your home, but I hate Pennsylvania. I'm a Florida boy through and through.
Where you from? I know you said you miss home. So where you from in Miami?
Richmond Heights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you from the hood?
No. Richmond Heights wasn't the hood now back in the day.
I don't know about today.
Well, see, you No, Andrew messed up Miami. See, black folks didn't
Who?
have no money in Miami until Hurricane Andrew hit. Then they
Oh, I
got
thought
all
you were
that
talking
money
about.
and they just went everywhere.
I thought
Nah.
you were talking about. To Andrew Gilliam messed up Miami. I was like, who? I don't
Whoa.
know. Who?
All right,
I
don't
don't
you
know him.
start nothing.
I don't know him.
We're not touching that one today. We're not
Hey.
touching that.
Hey, why y'all FAMU politicians don't act right?
Hey, who?
I said, why y'all FAMU politicians don't
Hey
act
man,
right?
I'm gonna be. I can't speak on Andrew. But I think Keisha got put in a bad situation,
Yeah.
and it's hard to be a black woman that's the mayor of Atlanta, and
Tallahassee.
you got
Oh no, you talking about Keisha?
yeah, you got social injustice knocking on your door, and then you got trying to do the right thing knocking on your door, and you got the asshole in the president. So I think it would have been tough for anybody.
I thought she did exceptionally well.
Man, I don't know about that, and I ain't trying to knock her, but from what I understand, as far as Atlanta is concerned right
Uh-huh.
now, man, they say every weekend. They said the crime is so bad in Atlanta right now. It's like nobody wants to go anywhere. Like they even robbing people for French bulldogs. You go walk your dog, they rob people for French bulldogs.
Yeah,
I ain't bullshit.
Atlanta. Parts of Atlanta have been a little crazy, man. They've been brazen with it too. They've been rolling up on people, like, robbing them at their car, taking their tires if they park too long. Like, it's been a lot going on. But I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna say it. Like, we get caught up in, blaming people in power when crime goes up. And I'm gonna say this, like, that ain't on Keisha. That ain't on. It's really not on any mayor. Like, a mayor can do their best to implement policy, right?
Yeah.
For their cities, but you can't control people who don't have.
You
And
right.
you can't control the mentality of, I'm gonna take what I want to take. You can't control the mentality. That's generational change that has to happen. And I spoke to that a little bit earlier. I didn't say why I said it, but my example earlier, where I said, like, as a man, as a woman, as a parent, as a person, like, it starts in your own house. And the type of person you are in your house, the type of person that your people see, your kids, your neighbors, that's infectious in itself. So if you living in a bad neighborhood, the chances of you becoming that type of person are pretty high. Now, I grew up in a bad neighborhood.
But Mike, I get that.
Dumb shit.
I
So
get that, but they saying this shit happening in the good neighborhoods right now. Like, people coming into the good neighborhoods and doing all the stuff that we just got through talking about, stealing the tires, holding people to gunpoint, shooting them.
yeah,
My boy told me his dude
folks
had a
know where the
Bentley.
money's at, man.
It's
have and have nots. Go ahead, my fault. Go ahead.
Yeah, my boy said he had one of his partners had a Bentley and a pocket full of money, and the dude he stopped to rob him, and he said, "Hey man, you can have everything, just take it all, just don't shoot me." And he said he started walking away, and they shot him anyway, and he ended up having to have surgery, and they had to take his intestines out, and he got a bag in him now. Like, they shooting people for, like, innocent. I mean, not innocent people, but people that ain't even fighting back. Like, here, you can have it. Because I feel like these young kids now feel like there ain't no consequences. Like, especially with, the social injustice that we deal with, and how everybody faulting the police, blaming the police, even though they are good cops too, but they feel like, shit, hell, I can do whatever I want to. Fuck these police.
Sometimes you're right, 100%. I mean, you got the mentality towards police that some of us are forced to have because of what we dealt with coming up and dealing with police in our neighborhoods. So,
exactly.
There are some neighborhoods where police used to, work the neighborhoods they lived in. And I guarantee you, neighborhoods like that aren't high crime areas, because, like, I'll say it like this: if I was a police officer, I mean, I don't have crime in my street. I hear gunshots in the distance, right?
Yeah.
But if I was a police officer in this neighborhood, the way I interact with people, my neighbors, the kids, and everybody else, like
Yeah.
I know crime wouldn't happen on my block. I know it wouldn't, because there's a certain way people view folks when they're in uniform versus not. They only see the uniform, and when they see the uniform, they see everybody in that uniform. So, they see Derek Chauvin when they see that uniform. They see
Yeah.
they see the cops that beat up Rodney King, and the ones that killed, name anybody you want to name, Mike Brown, Philando Castile, whomever. That's what they see. But when you have officers that live in a neighborhood and they're people, right? We know all cops ain't bad. We know that. So
Yeah.
it's just the way of doing things, where I personally think, speaking to these mayors and speaking to these leaders in the community, like, shift these cops to their neighborhoods. If a cop don't live in the city of Atlanta, don't be a cop in Atlanta. It's a stretch, because everybody don't want to be a cop. But
Yeah.
you put them in their neighborhood, their neighborhoods will change. They will. I believe that. Beyond that, like I said, every individual within their neighborhood, they gotta love their home, they gotta love their street, they gotta love their block, they gotta love their neighborhood, love their city enough to understand that you can really influence everyone around you based on who you are and what you do as a person in your neighborhood. Folks don't think like that. It's folks now that don't speak to their neighbors. They're not friends with their neighbors. And you don't have to be. But
Hey, that's me. I mean, I speak to my neighbors, but I don't know my neighbors for shit in the world.
right, and that's society. It's not uncommon. I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing, but it's definitely not uncommon. And I think it's part of the problem. It's not a big piece, but it's part of the problem. Folks just don't fuck with people, because of how things are now, how they've been for a while. So, but yeah, man. I mean, it's all right, Al, man. It's good talking to you, Al. Thanks for joining, brother.
Man, you the only one on here?
Yeah, it's just well, now it's just me and you. Al just jumped off. But
well, I do have an issue with you since the last time I seen you on a live call. It ain't really an issue with you. It's just an issue with something you said. And I ain't had a chance to, and you know me, I'm not really a fan, so I don't really care. But I remember we was on a Zoom call, and it was 1-1, Philly and Atlanta, and you were like, you had just blown out Atlanta. You was talking cash shit, talking about, yeah, I think the Sixers go end it in 5.
6. I said 6. I said 6. I said Sixers in 6. And I was wrong. And I'm gonna tell you why I was wrong. I didn't know that the combination of and I'll just go to game 7, right? I won't even talk about game 4 where they blew an 18-point lead, game 5 where they blew a 26-point lead. I ain't gonna get into that. Game 7 alone, right? As a coach, if I got a guy who and it's funny, I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna think you're gonna think I'm talking about one person, but I'm not.
I'm gonna see if you're thinking like me, like what I said after the game. But go ahead.
As a coach, if I got a guy who's not really scoring a lot, he's not, and he's letting somebody else score on him more than he normally does, I'm taking him out of the game, or I'm putting someone else on him. And that in itself, Kevin Huerter had 27 points in that game. He doesn't score 27 points a game. He's not a big-time scorer. So hold on. So as a coach, I'm taking Seth Curry off of him, and I'm putting Matisse Thybulle on him to slow him down. Because we slow him down, the Sixers win that game. Now, that's one of the many reasons why the Sixers lost that game.
What I said is same scenario. I said, Trey is having a bad game, and Steph
Who
Curry,
was guarding Trey?
Ben Simmons.
Okay.
I said, and Herter is going off, and he is like 5-6 inches taller than Steph Curry. So when you got a man that's that hot, and you're not gonna stop him with Steph Curry because you can shoot over the top of him every time.
Yep.
That's 5 or 6 inches. I
Yep.
was like, that's just like what we used to say, mouse in the house.
Yep.
Because when you hot, you hot. So I'm like, why you didn't Ben Simmons a Herter and put Steph on what's the name? Because he was having a bad game. Shit, hell,
Right.
he because he was still taking shots, but he was missing.
Right. Exactly.
So I was like, you should have switched it. I said the same thing.
Real quick, Coffee. No, you can't. You can, but they might laugh at you. Coffee said, "Can you call 911 and say you want to request a male cop to do a welfare check on your disabled friend?" No, Coffee. I'm not doing that. But anyway, so that being said, right? That's one small piece. So you bring in Matisse Thybulle. I think I see where you're going. Maybe switch Ben Simmons off to him to keep the offense of Seth Curry out there, right? I don't disagree with that either. But my fear, because I know Seth Curry is not a defender, and I know that Trey was struggling, I feel like Trey would have ended up going off on Seth Curry anyway. So I would have brought in Matisse Thybulle to guard Kevin Herter, because Matisse Thybulle is going to be Defensive Player of the Year at some point in the near future. He's a better defender than Ben Simmons. He just doesn't play as much as Ben Simmons because Matisse Thybulle is not an offensive player at all. But he'll hit a couple threes. He'll get some steals and get some dunks. So the way I see it, we'd have brought in Matisse Thybulle, we probably would have won that game. Now, I shouldn't say we. I don't play for the Sixers. But
well, let me ask you this:
Right.
height-wise, what's the comparison of Matisse Thybulle to Herter?
They're about the same size. But to be honest, with Matisse, it doesn't matter. I think Herter might have him by like an inch or two.
But an inch, that's nothing.
Right.
That's just really the same size. But when you 5-6 inches taller than somebody and you on fire, ain't nothing you can do to stop me unless you're gonna foul me.
Right. He just shot over him. You're right, 100%. So, and to me, like Kevin Herter is good for 15 to 20 points, right? Give him 20 for that game. Sixers win the game. Period. So that's one piece. Now the other side to that, obviously, is Ben Simmons. Now, my thing with Ben Simmons, whatever mental block he's going through, whatever mental issue he's going through from a basketball perspective, and of course it's starting to rain on me now, but we'll see if it pours. Really, all he needs to do in the beginning of the game, and he's done it in the past, he did it all season, attack the basket early, because even if you're not going to make your free throws, you're going to put somebody else on that team in their starting lineup. You're going to put them in foul trouble. You're going to put the team in foul trouble from a foul limit perspective. So now when Embiid gets fouled away from the ball, he's shooting foul shots and he's going to make them. When Seth Curry gets fouled away from the ball, he's going to get foul shots and he's going to make them. So again, it's a player thing, but it's a coach thing. Like, you got to figure out a way to instill that confidence in him to keep attacking the basket, because at the end of the day, can't nobody stop him.
Well, I don't know who said this, but it's like his confidence is so shot that he's not even being aggressive anymore. Like, he's not even right. He's just like really like out there just standing around for the most part. He's not even trying to attack the basket. He don't want to. Honestly, he don't want to play defense.
Right. I agree. I mean, there's a lot to it. Like I said, he's a piece. Like, I'm definitely not. He's not absolved of blame at all. But I mean, in a team sport, it's never just one person. One person, not to go back to the 18 and the 26-point lead, one person didn't lose those leads. So, that's a piece. But the one thing that other people don't realize or remember is Joel Embiid had 8 turnovers in that game. A center had 8 turnovers in that game.
But that's back to something else. Doc's fault.
Say it again.
That go back to something else. I say it's Doc's fault.
Yeah, Doc, and I'll also lean towards Ben a little bit because I as a ball player, if I got a guy on my team that isn't doing what he's supposed to do offensively, I'm going to take on some of that responsibility. I mean, I'm different because I'm a point guard, so that's my job anyway. But you know, I played in games where I wasn't playing well, and other guys wanted to take over instead. And when you try to take over out of your element, you usually turn the ball over. So some of those.
I should have said, Embiid, get your big ass in the fucking paint. Stop trying to shoot these goddamn 3-pointers and stop trying to dribble like you a point guard and get your big ass in the paint because can't nobody stop you down there. But
Right.
he want to be outside, dribble, get stolen. He's shooting 3. Like, no, you the most unstoppable player in today's NBA in the
Right.
paint. Get your big ass in the paint.
Right. Now I agree. So, and then there's Tobias Harris, who, had a terrible game. He scored some points and he had a great playoff. Like he showed up this playoff, he did. But that last game, he shot terribly. And people look at the box score and they always look at the points, but they don't look at the shooting percentage. If you're shooting, and I forget what Tobias Harris's shooting was that game, but I know it was bad. I know it was well below 50%. I think he was like 40 some odd percent for the series, but that game was like terrible. And just like Trae Young was 5 for 23 that game. Like what that does is when you shoot the ball and miss, unless you get an offensive rebound, that's really a turnover.
And
So
funny story about that. Trae was for the last time.
Yeah.
And he had
So,
13.
Yep. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, unfortunately, we won't see what the Sixers are going to do because they're done. But I think that there's a lot to be said about the team continuity of the Sixers, where and truthfully, Danny Green being out, I think hurt him a little bit. Even though defensively he killed us that first game trying to guard Trae Young. But I think that had he been there, I think that would have changed it a bit because he could have guarded Kevin Huerter. Again, he's not as tall, but he's a better defender than Seth Curry. So, there's so many pieces to it, man. And everybody's blaming Ben Simmons. People want him traded. And, I got a buddy of mine that his video went viral talking about Ben Simmons. And, he even got some T-shirts made. Since he went so viral, he trying to sell T-shirts talking about crumb bum or whatever. Ben Simmons is a crumb bum, some shit. But shout out to Dave. But nah, man, it's so not just Ben Simmons. I mean, does he need to be more aggressive? 100%. Does he need to work on some things? Hell yes. But in the end, it's not all on him. It's not.
So let me ask you this. And no, in NBA, big men are known to be bad free throw shooters.
Yeah.
Power forwards, some threes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a possibility because he's 60 to move him to in clutch situations, get the ball out of his hand, a real point guard in there. A point guard, not a real point guard. Put a point guard in there that can knock down shots, that can knock down free throws.
Yeah.
Where the ball's not in his hand as much.
100%. And I know, my guess is that's what they're going to do. Whether they develop or raise up the play of Tyrese Maxey, or they go get another guard like a guy like Reggie Jackson, for instance, a free agent. Maybe they do that. I don't know. Can they win? Could they have won this championship this year, especially now? Yes. Should they be on their way to the championship right now? Yes. But they're not because of everything we just talked about. It's not. They didn't.
I don't think they could have won it. I don't think they could have won it.
Right. I mean, we again.
I think they could have made it. I mean, if they had played better, like all the things that we touched on, I think they could have made it to the finals. But I think I think the West would have still won.
Yeah, I think Phoenix is going to win. Phoenix is too good. I think they're going to win it. But obviously my heart is on the Philly side. Had Philly got there, but should Philly have been in the championship? 100%, and I have no doubts. Like even with Giannis, if he hadn't gotten hurt, I truly believe the Sixers have the tools to have to made it to the championship, but they didn't use the tools properly. They didn't play. They didn't play to their ability. They didn't play with any heart. Like there's too many reasons why they didn't get there, and it's not because of talent, and it's not because Atlanta's a better team, because Atlanta's not a better team than Philly. They're not. They beat them, but they're not better. They don't have more talent. They have a better coach. They have a better coach.
They got a better coach, and they got a lot more heart.
Exactly, 100%, 100%. I tip my hat to Atlanta. I said what I said. I ain't got no problem being wrong.
I said they this year's Miami Heat.
Yeah, I said it. I said the same thing. I said the exact same thing. And I'm still listening, but it's raining on me, so I gotta make a move here. Gotta make a quick transition. Yeah,
what did she say?
Kappa Shed is right next to me, so I'm gonna make my way in here because it's raining. Bear with me for a second. I can still hear you. You just can see me.
Hey, so we gonna come back to the basketball, but did they have a conversation since they wanted you to get on about Bill Cosby?
Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about that in depth, and I've been trying to hang on just in case they jump back on. But
who was all on the call tonight?
Right now, just me and Al. Coffee was trying to join. She been in the chat. Iris been in the chat. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Oh, Iris is still here. Iris, I ain't seen or heard from you in about 35 years. You probably over there about to fall asleep. Can you hear me, Iris?
All right, my bad. Oh, man. All right, we got the shelf showing. I ain't got my sign up behind me like I usually do, so you see the ugly side of the shed, but it's all good. But yeah, man. What I was talking about, it's legit like raining.
I asked if she could hear me.
Yeah. She's watching on Facebook, so.
Oh, you got it on Facebook?
Yeah, we live, brother.
Oh, okay. I didn't touch my mouth.
No, it's all good. We ain't saying nothing that we can't really say.
Curse
I
words.
ain't worried about cussing on Facebook. We allowed to cuss on Facebook. Yeah, I got a lot of water on my laptop. So I got a touch screen. So my touch screen laptop. So every time water's like running down my screen and it's like hitting stuff. But yeah, man. Like I said, man, we talked about Bill Cosby. We talked about not that you can't add your own commentary, because my stance was really posing a question to people, talking about are y'all happy he's out? Are you mad he's out? Are you upset with the people that are excited that he's out? How do you see it? That's kind of the question I was asking people.
Actually, I'm pretty much like, man, let that man live. Man, that man ain't got too many days left. Man, let the man live. Now, to his allegations, The same I can say about Deshaun Watson. I always feel like when there's multiple indictments, like cases that come up, 20-something cases or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you know us by being around athletes and entertainers, most of that stuff ain't true.
Right.
But one or two of them true.
Right.
And that's the way I look at it. You know, one or two people might be true, but most of them things ain't even true, ain't even close to being true. But you know, everybody want to jump on the bandwagon these days, and everybody want to try to get a little money and all this kind of stuff. And
Yep.
I just don't believe most of it.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, and there's a couple layers to it. I mean, that's one of them. You know, we gotta we gotta consider, you know, the timing of a lot of it. You know, there were multiple instances that happened 30 some odd years ago. There was a more recent one that happened like in 2004. And, you know, apparently, you know, the difference in 2004 was apparently she just had Benadryl. She didn't have a Quaalude. But that being said, you know, I don't care what someone, you know, is inebriated by. If they're incapacitated in any way, like what kind of sex is that going to be anyway? Like how bad do you have to want it to have sex with someone in that state? Short of, even if it's someone you had sex with before, like let's, you know, remove the whole, because apparently, you know, one of the women, at least one of them, kept coming back after she apparently knew what happened. So, you know, there's that, and that's probably why he wasn't convicted for any of those. Like people forget that his conviction was for what happened in 2004. That's why he went to jail. It wasn't for the stuff from 30 years ago. I think the stuff from 30 years ago helped build the case against him, for sure. His ultimate admission to giving women that he wanted to have sex with Quaaludes didn't help. But you know, to your point, he served time. I mean, did he serve enough for the crime? No. But at his age, did he suffer? I'm sure. You know, at this point, can he do it again? Probably not. Probably not with his own pills, at least. But I think now that, you know, his image is so, you know, so tarnished at this point that who'd be dumb enough, you know, to, you know, Coffee had mentioned it, who'd be dumb enough to take a drink with him, right? Who'd be
First of all, he's 30 years old. Ain't nobody trying to look at Bill Cosby like that no more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's done. He's done. He's, you know, I mean, we're talking about him. He's going to be a topic for, you know, another, you know, quote unquote 15 minutes or so. But, you know, he's going to be able to pretty much live the rest of his life at home, chilling. Probably won't be out in the public like that. I mean, maybe some people are going to try to pull him out in the public. You know, the way the world is today, you know, shit, he might end up with a goddamn reality show.
Bro, I mean, of course, I'm not putting people out there, but I know some dudes, bro. Like they used to put Molly inside the champagne.
Yeah.
And put the champagne bottles in the refrigerator. And when the girls come by, they be like, "Hey, you want some champagne?" And I was like, bro, that I was in my mind. I know that's already wrong, but man, I'm gonna stay out of it, you know. And you know, it's just so much that go on. I mean, Bill Cosby is just one of them figures that just stands out, and everybody knows who he is. So it's gonna be a bigger issue with him than other folks.
Exactly. We got our good friend DK in the building. We are live on Facebook, by the way. So
hey everybody, how you guys doing? I don't know how many people are on here. I just got out of a meeting.
She looks so educated with her glasses on today.
She in work mode. We it's
no,
just
I'm not. I actually am not in work mode. I'm on vacation technically today. We had a chapter meeting a chapter committee meeting, trying to get ready for our upcoming membership mixer. That's going to be August 14th. But more information to come. So,
Hey, did I see Yolanda in Tallahassee today?
probably. I haven't really been on social media today.
Today was the press conference for the SWAC, and I thought I saw her. I wasn't sure if that was her or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it. I saw it posted. I think I saw you posted it. I think, Donna, but or shared it or something. I don't know, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. I had meetings all morning. I didn't get to do anything. Well, I mean, I was quote unquote at work, so I guess I shouldn't have been able to do anything but work. But I didn't get to do too much viewing and watching earlier today. But yeah. So now that you're here, Donna, a part of this is inspired by you, since you asked me about it yesterday. And my event that I was supposed to have today ended up getting postponed because of the rain. So here we are. We had some folks we had some folks watching. We got a couple people watching now on Facebook. I think Iris might still be watching. Coffee was watching. I had Algernon. You know Algernon Williams?
I think so. I think I saw, when I saw your message, I logged in and saw just a tiny little bit, but then had to switch.
Yeah, he was on for a little bit. We talked about a lot of stuff, but obviously the focus and premise mostly was, about this whole bill thing. And, I know when you and I talked, I wasn't quite ready to talk about it, but, I watching some of the posts and, commenting on some of the posts, I think that kind of helped me realize where I stood with it. And, I think it boils down to really, three main pieces to it. And it's, you got folks that are happy he's out. You got folks that are mad he's out. And then you got folks that are mad at the people who are happy he's out. Folks that are celebrating him and, trying to throw parades and, I'm being extra, but, all excited. And I guess the other layer, the reason a lot of them are happy he's out, I'll say it this way, is they're happy because somebody beat the system. And in my mind, he didn't really beat the system. The system messed up. They made a mistake. They made a mistake. Did they make a mistake because of who he is? Probably. They wanted to make an example. Think about what came of, the initial news of him, being accused of this stuff. It started a whole movement. And I think that from out of that, I think it's a good thing. I think that, we talked about, because people talked about, oh, well, back then, that's how they partied. And I'm like, all right, well, again, doesn't mean, you see a woman, or not even see, you help initiate a woman's inebriation and then take advantage of that. Like, you can't do that.
I never even.
But one of the things that I just want to say before I say anything is that, and I am going to be very, very careful and cautious and cognizant about how I frame any responses that I say, because simply because of you guys, I don't know if y'all discussed it or not, but there's been a lot of conversation about Felicia Rashad and whether or not if she should lose her position at Howard because she came out and spoke on behalf of, but and so now, even though she's a public figure, she's an entertainer, a very revered and very well loved and well known entertainer. People are having that conversation about whether or not she should continue to have her position, at Howard. So because of my field and because of some of the other different things that I'm connected to, I will be very careful and calculated about what I say in response to that, but will more so just talk about the one thing that we have to remember is that we cannot forget how important it is to protect the rights of women and the right for women to be in a space where someone doesn't think, or where someone be able to be and exist in a space and not feel as though somebody else thinks that they have the right to invade their personal space. So, because the topic, of course, they're, talking about BC, and I'm gonna leave it as that, not BT, but BC. But the bigger issue is, and the bigger focus will continue to be on women's rights. And where do we draw the line with, even with colleagues and friends? Because as older people, in our age cohort, we have a collective of friends that are both men and women. And where do we draw the line? We have to protect that line. And oftentimes, like I came across a video that I watched the other day that showed where, a young lady went from having an amazing time at an event to being violated. And it was captured on video, where the woman was asking for help. She was asking for, somebody please help me. And everybody just stood there with a phone and recorded versus trying to help and assist, because at the beginning, the perception was that she was there having a good time. And so I think for me, the bigger issue is, yes, we can't control what's happening with the legal system. There was a legal technicality that took place, and Mike, unfortunately, I have to say I will refrain from giving my personal perspective on it, because I don't want to have to go into detail about what my perspective is. But what I will speak about is women and the right for women to feel as though they can go into a space and exist in a space where a man or anybody, in this current day and age, where someone else doesn't feel like it's okay to take advantage of them. And I'm not saying take advantage to the point, like, to the extent that, like what you were talking about, it could be something as simple as, almost hugging somebody too closely, or just getting your proximity, that personal space. And, where do you have to, that's my biggest thing. That's where, when I saw that, it's like, what I'm focused on is, the women. And I think Beverly Johnson said it best, is that we just have to continue to highlight and protect the space that women are in. And it's really not just women, because there are some men who have been compromised and who've been placed, in those situations. So I'm trying to bring a different angle. I'm so glad that you brought it up, because it's important. It's important to me. I know, I have a lot of friends that are men, but, I keep things in perspective, especially when I'm out in public or if I'm at an event, because, and no one invites that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Nobody invites that. And even if people are at, like, say, at an event or at a party, and there's, could be libations or happy beverages that are involved. That does not mean that we forget about the respect, and we forget about the right for women to feel safe in any kind of space.
Yep, 100%.
Well, can I tell you a personal experience that I had? I think it was my sophomore year in college, and I was actually afraid to kind of step in, because I knew that these people were dating, and I never forget. We was like at Faces, and it was a party, and I had just met the girl at the time. I'm not gonna put her name out there because you all know her, but I had just met her and we were talking, and then all of a sudden, the guy that she was kind of dating kind of snatched her, and he was like yelling at her and kind of like not slapping her hard, but he kept slapping her on the face. And it was kind of a situation where I didn't want to get into their business, so I kind of just watched. And I know that was wrong now, but at the time it was like, I'm not gonna get involved in that. And maybe people are kind of like I was at the time, like afraid to even interfere with situations that where you say, Donna, you saw the video and she was asking for help. I mean, that's a possibility because I like I said, that was my take on that situation I dealt with. So I'm not saying the one that you saw the video for, that's the same case, but can that be a possibility too?
I mean, that right there, you know, you're kind of speaking about domestic violence, and I don't think that was the topic that, you know, that specifically was being talked about. Now, of course, you know, in our younger days, we didn't have access to, you know, to cell phones. We had pagers, things like that. But, you know, you do have to be careful nowadays about how you intervene and when you, because, you know, people now, I just saw like something on some video of somebody getting hit in a convenience store, and the person, you know, pulled out a weapon. So you know, you have to be really careful about how you intervene in certain situations. But I think the focus is about, you know, women, and when women go into different spaces, how there are, and I'm just going to generalize it because it's not just men. I mean, it's not just men, but who feel as though it's okay to violate. And even more shocking is that sometimes these are people that you trust. These are people that are supposed to be your friends. These are people that are supposed to be, you know, where you feel as though you can trust them. And, you know, and it's really sad that at the end of the day, you have to be on point, meaning you have to never let your guard down and never put yourself in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, I wouldn't necessarily go in private somewhere with somebody that even if it's a personal friend, even if it's somebody that I'm close to, I'm always thinking about my environment, my space, my exit. How can, you know, I'm always thinking about that because I'm always thinking about my safety. But then again, when you're, you know, with situations when you're in a public place where there's lots of people and you're around friends, and sometimes, you know, friends try to, you know, push the limit because somebody is not really saying anything because they're in a public space. And, you know, some of the same things happen, you know, to people like us, to people like you, and for whatever reason or another, it goes without being addressed. But I assure you, and I don't mind saying this, I can assure you that if somebody violated me and got in my personal space, I make it very clear, make it very well known that you're in my personal space, and I don't care how close of a friend you are to me, because at that point you're forgetting that I have a right to my personal space. And I think going back, I saw like what Coffee said, re-emphasizing what Mike said. You know, I won't do anything to you that you would not invite. So you also have to be careful about nonverbal cues. You have to be careful about, you know, how you interact with people. But that's not to say that women have to adjust their dress, adjust how they dance, adjust how they're out with their girls. That doesn't give somebody the right to think, oh, she's X, Y, and Z. So I have, you know, so let me go and get closer to see if she would be okay And some people see how much they can get away with because nothing is necessarily being said. But sometimes some people don't want to cause a scene. You know what I mean?
Nope.
But at the same time, like I said, I won't cause a scene, but I will pull you to the side and say, look, you violated me, and that doesn't need to happen ever again in life. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep, 100%.
But Donna, Mike will probably agree with me on this. We've never, and I'm assuming Mike is just like me. We've never seen you in a state where you're so out of it that you don't know what's going on around you. Like you always, even though you may have a happy drink here and there, you've always maintained yourself where you're able to comprehend and know what's going on without you, around you, and be able to say, "Hey, you in my space," whatever. But some people let these happy drinks go a little bit further, and they get to a point where they don't really know what's going on around them. They don't know if they're
It
safe or
doesn't
not.
matter. It doesn't matter. She could be flat on the floor. It doesn't matter. Not to say that she should not, that she should have an awareness of where her limits are, but none of that matters.
But what I'm saying is,
None of it matters.
you're at a state where you can tell somebody that they've gone to a state where they don't even know where they are, so they can't tell, hey, somebody, hey, you're in my personal space or that, because they're inebriated, and they probably won't remember half the time. They probably won't even remember the night before.
So my point, but to the point, and I think the point that Coffee was trying to touch on that I had said earlier, and to kind of build on that a little bit, like on one side, you know, if a woman doesn't want to be in my space, I probably don't want to be in hers. But on the flip side, if I want to be in her space and she can't be in my space, like physically can't, and has no idea what's going on, why would I want to? You know, if and I've been in this situation, right? And I said this earlier, you guys probably weren't on. Like, I've been in situations where it's a woman that I want to be with on some level, even if it's just physical. But she was too drunk. So in my mind, I'm like, well, I ain't getting none tonight. You know, I'm gonna let her sleep this off, and you know, and think about it, and then, you know, wait till she back to normal before anything goes on, because I don't want to be Bill Cosby, right? Before I knew about Bill Cosby, this was years ago. You know, I never wanted to be in that kind of situation. And anything, I want, even if I don't know her like that, I want her to feel safe. I want her to know, listen, you were destroyed last night. I let you, I kind of just let you, got you in the bed, let you go to sleep, whatever. And, and I always, every, I've been in that scenario at least 3 times, and I always got to thank you. And to this day, I'm still friends with those women because they felt safe. Like,
that's the point, right?
Forget how somebody looks. Forget how you might be able to physically make somebody feel. I guarantee you, if a woman feels safe around you, and I'll let you kind of attest to this, Donna, since you're a woman. If a woman feels safe around you, even if y'all never end up together, y'all will be friends for life because she knows that you're the right type of dude to be around.
Yeah, I mean, I just recently shared with somebody that, and it's just sad and it's unfortunate that probably a couple of years ago, maybe a couple of years ago or so, that, I was around, and like I'm reading, I can see the comments, and so I'm looking at Iris at this very important. I mean, Mike, you made some amazing comments, and I applaud you. I know that you have young ladies, daughters and young ladies, and I know you think about their safety all the time. So, you definitely are a model, and we know that there are so many good men like you, who protect women. But there was probably a couple of years ago, someone that I thought was, a cool friend, like a brother kind of cool friend, who kind of came into town, and was like, yeah, I'm in town or whatever. I was like, yo, I'm excited. Yeah, whatever. And so, like I said, I'm always on point regardless of who it is. I never ever let my guard around because people are human, and sometimes those human instincts kick in. And sometimes laymanly, just to say it laymanly, sometimes people still, knowing where they stand with you, will try to push limits just to see how much they can get away with, and it's kind of sad and unfortunate that this was somebody that I revered as a really close friend, someone that I was super cool with, who, just within an environment, just by the scenario in the setup was like, well, this is odd, this is strange, and my brain started putting things together, and I'm like, yeah. It's time to go. Well, you know what? Look at the time. Golly, I have to go. And as a woman, we have to be able to recognize those things. And unfortunately, Mike, this was somebody that I did consider to be a really close friend that I cared a lot about, and never ever would have thought that they would have done that. Now, some people would look at that as to say, well, you should be flattered that, maybe they like you, or maybe they've always been interested in you. And I'm like, my type boys who are my friends, who I'm cool with, there's no gray area. There's no blurred line. Either that we tight like that, or that you're not, and that you're not in the friend zone, or look, the infamous friend zone, and that that maybe you could be an option. Maybe I might have an interest in you as well. But with me, people know where they stand with me. There is no in between, because I don't flirt with my tight friends, guys, things like that. I just don't. If there's somebody that that I'm interested in, I don't have an issue with letting them know that I'm interested in them. But there's definitely a line, and unfortunately, I was just really shocked at it. Now, did I make a big deal out of it? No, because I left. I left the space before anything could even be when I say happen, just anything could, like a light turning off, or, hey, do you want a glass of wine? I'm like, I'm in a private space with somebody that, hey, is my cool person. But then the vibe was like, oh, hold on 1 second.
Mm-hmm. But to pick up on something else that you said, Terrence, and by no means am I saying you're wrong, because everybody's different in situations. But I was in a similar situation. This was actually in Philly. It was after college. And, I'm leaving a party, and it's a guy and it's a girl. And I don't know whether they're a couple or not. He was carrying her shoes. And I feel like I told y'all this story at some point or another on one of these Sip and Smokes. But, well, this ain't a Sip and Smoke. But, and, like, they're arguing or whatever. And I'm like, whatever. We're walking in the same direction to the parking garage. And this fool, he has her shoes, and he drops a couple F-bombs at her, calls her out her name, and like started to throw her shoes at her, and heels, right? And I mean, think about now. Fortunately, he couldn't throw, for one, but think about a heel and what that could do if it hit you in the wrong spot, right? So I'm like, all right, and I'm with a couple of my boys too, and I'm like, this fool just. And ironically, one of my boys had commented earlier. He was my boy Artie. He was with me, Morehouse grad. But and I approached the dude, and I'm like, bro, I was like, nah, not around me. Like, that's not happening around me. I was like, I don't really want to be in y'all business, but it's in front of me, so it's my business. And whatever issue y'all got, I was like, did y'all? And I asked, and he was, he's still popping off. So I just walked away from him, and I'm talking to her. I'm like, did y'all ride together? And she's like, no. I was like, go ahead, get to your car. I was like, go to your car. I was like, I'll make sure you good. Like, I handed her shoes. I was like, I'll make sure you good. And my boys, mind you, were kind of dealing with him because I walked away from him. So they're dealing with keeping him away, you know. And you know, I just made sure she got in her car. You know, she went home. Now, what happened after that, I don't know. But you know, I saw enough, and it wasn't going to keep happening. Now, that's not quote unquote rape or sexual assault, but it's still assault in the sense that, you know, nobody should be treating another person that they quote unquote claim to either like, love, want to be with, or whatever. Don't treat them that way. And I'm not going for it. Now, you know, Donna, you had made a point about it too. I don't know what he was, you know, I didn't think about it. I'll say it like that. I didn't think about, does he got a weapon? Does he have this? Does he have that? I didn't care.
Right.
Because to me, seeing that was enough for me to not care. Like, did I want to die that day? Of course not. But I damn sure didn't want to see, you know, what he might have did to her if he was willing to throw a shoe at her.
And then you think about your daughters. You know, you would want, if you're not there and somebody is standing by, you would want somebody to intervene. You know, and there's ways in which, you know, you can intervene without things, you know, without things getting to the, you know, getting to the extreme. But you know, I didn't get a chance to say it because my alarm went off real quick. I had to go check on that. But unfortunately, I had to really revise the way in which I interacted with, you know, with this friend, because it wasn't enough for me to cut them off and just, you know, without an announcement or anything. But I had to adjust, because at that point I realized that even after everything that I've done and said, the years that I've known this person, you know, I've never hinted, never even gave any kind of indication that I was remotely interested in that manner. And it made me uncomfortable enough to the point where I made an adjustment in our friendship, because just because you're a man and I'm a woman doesn't mean that, you know, that I welcome that. I don't, you know, you know, and I know it's kind of crazy because, you know, when you're out in a social event or public engagement, things like that, you know, there's a way to be classy, but to also let somebody know, you know, that you're not interested, or, you know, no thank you, or whatever the case may be. You don't have to be, you know, boss hog and everything. And you definitely don't have to cause a scene. But at the same time, you know, just kind of reflecting back on this whole topic, you know, even within like the friendships and the, you know, the friends that we have around us, you know, sometimes we have to readjust. Sometimes we have to reevaluate based on their behavior. And truth be told, they know what they're doing. What it boils down to, like you said, what it boils down to is the respect for the respecting of the space, you know, of a woman. And you've been very clear that, you know, that you maintain that respect, you know, and I think having daughters makes it even more important to you that women understand that they can be safe in your presence, regardless of what state that they are in, you know? And, you know, there are a couple of proactive things, you know, as women that, you know, that we definitely can do to make sure that, you know, that we protect ourselves and guard ourselves, like making sure that, you know, we don't take, you know, any type of beverages from people that we don't know.
Right.
Not leaving your drink or leaving something down the area unattended. You know, because you never really know, especially when you're out, like in a, you know, especially when you're out in a public space. Yep.
No, that's it. I mean, and you know, fortunately, I was this way before I had daughters, but like I talked about it earlier with Algernon too. Like we're of the, you know, not that people today don't know it, but I can distinctly remember like a whole campaign around No Means No, right? So hold on. It was coming from Terrence. I had put him on.
Oh.
Yeah. But you know, we're of that you know, when we people our age, when we hear no means no, we know exactly what it's about. We know exactly what it means. We get it, right? And you know, it just stuck with me. I mean, if I never heard it, would I probably still be the same way? Of course, but yeah, it's it's just one of them things where if she don't want me, why do I want her? If she don't want me, why do I care enough to try to force myself in whatever way to try to make her want me? Like, I'm good. Like, okay, everybody got their choices. And if she's made her choice clear, I respect that. Let's move on. Like, it's just not that serious. Like, there's never anything about any one person that's that serious where you need to, like, violate their space. Like, how is that making anything better? You know what I mean?
And at our age, like, we're at an age where, if you have to resort to to doing something like that, then it's a sad situation, because you're really more like a predator. Yeah. Like, are you preying on people, like, when you go out and you look to see who's the most vulnerable? And again, I'm not just speaking about men being in that role, because there are some women who are aggressive, and guys may not want that or invite that kind of thing. But it's a sad case when you have people, and I see, hey Jennifer, I can see the comments, Mike.
Yeah, I'm putting up there. I'm letting them pop up. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I love what she said about it being an ego thing, because people who display that kind of behavior, it's very narcissistic. Yep. And it's bad. Like, that's an issue when you are literally out and you are preying on people. Yep. You are looking for who's going to be the most vulnerable. And, I just,
and that's it. It's like, you can't, like, and to your point, like, women, there are women like that. Like, I've experienced it, I mean, I've experienced it at a young age, like in my teens, and I've experienced it as an adult where, I think, and Jennifer made it a perfect point. It's an ego thing, because I think there are some women who have such an ego, like, well, he's lucky for me to even want to be in his space, right? The same as some of these men are. And I think that, it's, and ironically for me, for the most part, the woman has actually been inebriated. So it's like, I guess, she got a little drunk and she got a little liquid courage, and, now she's saying things that she probably wouldn't normally say if she wasn't drinking. And what most, well, I won't say most, but to me, what I don't think they realize is that is probably the most unattractive thing you could ever do to me. If you come up on me drunk talking all of this stuff and, in my space, I'm probably going to laugh and walk away. I won't make it a thing per se, but, if there was an attraction I might have had to you, it's gone. Not because you're drunk, but because you're drunk and acting that way. Like, it's just, it's something about that. It's just a turn off. So, if there's an interest, if you have an interest, say something, but don't wait you drunk and acting all crazy and, trying to half kiss on me or touch me or do whatever. Like, that don't work for me. It does nothing for me whatsoever. I ain't got no problem, getting a woman. So I damn sure don't need one to be throwing herself on me like that.
Hey, but I'm not going to even go to that far into the situation. I'm going to go to like an early stage. We've all been places before where you were observing and you could see people across the room or whatever, and you could see a guy talking to a girl or a girl talking to a guy, and you can obviously see the person ain't interested in them. They might be rolling their eyes, or they're like, oh my God, just giving all kinds of signs like it. And we sit there and see like, oh, she doesn't like him, he doesn't like her, but they can't see that. So to take it to another level, for somebody who's probably been inebriated, the other person can't see it, and one person can, and they don't have the courage to just say, "Hey, man, can you leave me alone?" Or they don't
Right.
want to feel like they being rude and say, "Hey, man, can you get the fuck away from me?" You know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
whatever the reason might be. So we have cases like that too. And I mean, everybody just isn't able to just be expressive. They might give a fake number at the end of the night, but they won't tell somebody, "Hey, I'm not interested."
Right. No, and I get that, and I know a lot of women. Bless you. I think that was a sneeze. I know a lot of women. Yeah. I know a lot of women, and this is mostly women because I don't know, like, I'll say this first, and I'll go back to the woman comment. But like, I don't know too many men that if a woman approaches them, they're not gonna be somewhat receptive because typically women don't approach men. Not that it doesn't happen, but it's not as common. So for a man that's not used to getting any attention, he's probably gonna be built up off of that. Just being honest. I know guys that they get hyped as hell when a woman tries to talk to them. But away from that, right? On the flip side, women, I mean, every day got men coming at them from every angles in every scene, every scenario, not just the club. And you know what some of my female friends and even my daughters for that matter, you know, tell me is, well, used to tell me because my daughters know better at this point, but some of my female friends, oh, I just gave my number to get them off my back. Like, nah, you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to be able to walk away. Now, I get some of these dudes get out of hand, they get crazy and whatever, and that's the unfortunate part of it, and it's a part of what we're talking about, and you know, when it boils down to it. But you know, you got to be able to walk away. I mean, and if it's to the point to where you're afraid, then you need to tell somebody. You need to, you know, if you're in a club, club's got security. You know, walk to the security guard like, yo, he's bothering me, and I'm trying to be nice or whatever, you know, but he's bothering me. You know, if you're in a place where there's no security, you got a phone. You know, my daughters know, call me if I can't be there in 10 minutes because I'm you know, a flight away or whatever. Guess what? Somebody gonna be there. You know, Deja knows in Atlanta, you know, all she gotta do is breathe wrong and call me on some, you know, Dad, he tripping. I need you to get here or whatever. Guess what? Somebody's gonna be there until I get there. You know, that's just how it works. And I'm not saying I'm getting there to beat the crap out of somebody, but I'm getting there to let somebody know that you ain't gonna keep doing whatever it is you think you're trying to do to my child. Like, it's just not gonna work that way. So, you know, to your example though, with these women, they gotta know that they have the power to walk away. They gotta know they have the power to tell somebody. You know what I'm saying? And not be afraid of that consequence, because that might be the only thing that helps them. You know, I saw a video of, you know, a woman in a restaurant where, you know, she was being abused, and she wrote a note off to the side to the waitress. And
I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that. And the waitress, you know, told the other waiter, and the waiter called the cops, and the cops came and snatched dude up. Like, you know, there's ways to do things, and you know, and I'm not saying the women that don't are wrong, but I just don't think they've been, you know, properly educated on the things that they can do, you know, to get out of that situation. You know, you don't have to be physical with the dude. You don't have to cuss the dude out. You don't have to do any of that stuff if it's not in your character, but you can walk away, you know, and the moment he puts his hands on you to stop you from walking away, that's where you make noise. That's where you tell somebody. Somebody's going to help you. Like, everybody's not a, you know, a bystander. You know, everybody's not going to put their phone out to film it. Somebody's going to help you. You know, and you know, you should, you know, and should is such a wrong word to use because I don't like the word. But at the end of the day, other people should be able to chime in and help you out in some kind of way. You know, whether it's security, whether it's a 911 call, whether it's, you know, something. It's sad to have to get to that point. And I hope nobody ever has to get to that point. But you know, some of these dudes, man, like, you know, hey, shorty, how you doing? You know, I'm not interested. And boom, the guy's mad. And now, F you then or whatever. You know, I've seen dudes do it. And I'm just like, whatever. You know, there's guys like that, truthfully, to make me look better. Not that I want guys to be like that, but, you know, I've been in situations where I've watched them fail. And, you know, next thing I know, you know, I got a new friend. So, you know, it's You know, it's a shame, but you know, y'all got options. Like women have options. I just don't know that all of them, you know, all of them know that they have those options because they fear, you know, what the consequence might be, and that's just not fair. So,
I agree. I agree. This is a really, you know,
I agree also, Mike.
it's this whole thing. I'm just so glad that you talked about it because, like you said, there's a lot of different opinions about what's going on with BC's situation and the legal issues behind that. But what it just brings to light and just brings back, you know, on the forefront is just making sure that we're not being dismissive about, you know, about when a woman is, like you said, when she does make it known that, you know, that it's an uncomfortable situation. And sometimes, I love this comment, if more men would hold each other accountable, then things would be different. This shouldn't solely be left to the woman. That's a really good point as well.
Yeah, that's my brother Kendall right there. Good brother. We went to high school together.
Yeah. So it's an important topic because unfortunately it still happens, and you know, so maybe it takes somebody. Maybe sometimes people are doing things like violating spaces, and they in their mind they don't see it as being such, and because it's not being brought to the forefront, like it's not been brought to their attention. See, I'm somebody where I'm like, there's no way that you can think that this is okay. Like there's no way that you could possibly think that you feeling like you got away with violating somebody is okay. Because in my mind, I begin to think, well, how many other people have you done this to? And then I begin to think, now I don't trust you. Now I can't be around you. Now I can't interact with you because what if one day you start preying on me? You know, it's an important topic. It's not about, you know, it's not definitely not about bashing any one side or the other, but just making sure, and let me just, I guess, extend to each person, both men and women, you know, and then just being cognizant like about, you know, about your surroundings. And, you know, like, for example, I'll tell you one thing that, you know, my girls and I do when we go out, you know, we usually do a group text. So like, say if ever, you know, people kind of drive by themselves nowadays, but we always make sure that, you know, when we get home or to our place of destination, because everybody doesn't go home, but when people get to their place of destination, that they let us know that they're safe.
Yep. That's it.
You know?
I mean, and it's funny because me and my homies do the same thing. I mean, it's, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it's,
right.
You know, you made it back for a lot of other reasons, but
yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that we do is, and you know, I know friends who do this. I share my location with a couple of my tight friends because I feel like I have to have somebody that knows where I am at all times, because and even if I wasn't a single woman, you know, even if I wasn't single, I still want people to know, because you never really know, like, you know, people have been able to trace phones because they have that ability enabled on their Find My app, you know, and it's a very easy app. You know, you can turn it on, you don't have to keep it on every day, all day, whatever. You can turn it on like specific times when when you're out or whatever. I keep with my people, I call them my persons. I share my location with a very small select group of people, the same way that my daughter shares her location with me, even though she's in college, you know, and one time, oh, that's a whole nother topic. But one time, she turned the location off. And I called her, I said, don't turn your location off. I said, you know, and as a mom with a child going to college, I had to realize that I don't need to use that as I'm looking and watching your every
Right.
watching your every move. No, that's not the point. But the more important issue is for you to look at it as safety. So the same way that she shares her location, she can see my location. There's been some times where she sent me a text and we may be out and it might be after 12 and she's like, hey mom, just checking on you, see if everything's good. And, I appreciate that because that means that, she might just be looking to see, where I am, even though she knows most of the time I'm kind of a homebody unless it's something with the alumni. And, I just, to me, those are proactive things that, that anybody can do. Our kids can do, guys can do, like you said, with their tight boys, nothing wrong with that. And, with significant others, your family or, and I just, I'm not in any precarious places where I don't want somebody to know, I don't want people to know I'm going to a botany show or going to things like, now I'm being very facetious about that, but I'm just saying, like, it's like, I don't have any issues with my tight people seeing where I'm going because that's the goal. The goal is to be safe. And I'm not out there, doing anything that, that I showing up in precarious places, but I look at it as a proactive safety, thing where somebody knows where I am at all times.
Yeah.
And
even I'm sorry, go ahead, Don, my bad.
No, you're good.
Even to Jennifer's point, she said, unless you're leaving with your significant other, to be quite honest, even in that scenario, now it's instead of, let me know when you get home, is let me know when y'all get home. That's all. No matter where I'm at, at the end of the day, like the crew I'm with, we make sure everybody good, because usually, especially with me, like my closest friends don't live in Philly. My closest friends are out in Coastville. That's, 40 minutes away, 45 minutes away. So typically if they're at one of my events, it takes them a lot longer to get home. So I'm up, if I'm home at 2, I'm staying up until at least 3 to make sure they good. Just because, so it's, and vice versa. Like if I'm doing something out that way and, they like, yo, let me know when you get home, blah, 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 whatever. It's just, it's a common thing. I think it's, how we were raised, obviously, but I think it's also from a, taking care of our women perspective, that's way more important. I mean, even if it's in the daytime, like I was down, I went to lunch with, a friend of mine in Atlanta, in the middle of the day. And I'm like, yo, let me know when you get to the crib or whatever, it's just simple. It's just simple stuff, make sure everybody good. You want to make sure folks are good. You want to make sure folks, don't end up, in a situation. It's just what it is. So, I've gone out with friends, male and female, and, the woman meets a guy and blah, blah, blah. And, she's like, oh, I'm good. I'm like, you sure he good? And I ain't got no problem letting the dude know, like, dude, like, that's my sister, like, whatever, So it's just, it's just what it is. But I mean, fun, we want to have fun. We like to think that we're in a situation where everybody's safe. We like to think we're around the right type of people. Typically, when we're out at events, I mean, especially when we're all at events that we're throwing, typically we know everybody for the most part, so it's a little more comfortable. I think folks are probably a little more relaxed, but, we're also all out in situations where we don't know who's throwing a party. We don't know the DJs. We don't know the club. We don't know the security. We don't know, anything. We're out of the country. We don't know, we don't know what goes on in that country per se. So, there's a lot of different scenarios, but, we like to think the best in people. We like to think that, all right, at everyone's core, they're good, but we know that to be different too. So.
Hey, the funny thing is, I travel so much by myself. I don't really have nobody second. I be like, because I don't really go out nowhere. But I will say, and Donna can verify this, when she came down for Anika's birthday, I was like, when we left, I did text Donna, say, hey, did you make it back safely? And she texted me like, yeah, I'm good. When I'm out with people like that, I will make sure that they make it back safely. But like I said, for me, when I'm here by myself, I just travel. I just move by myself for the most part. I don't want too many things
Yeah.
around me, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I go a lot of places by myself. Get it, and I'm not. I'm gonna sit here. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm worried when I'm out by myself because I'm not. But even still, depending on where I'm at or where I'm going, if I'm, to me, I'm almost never anywhere where I'm by myself when it boils down to it. Like if I'm traveling somewhere, I'm probably, if I'm not traveling with someone, I'm traveling to someone, whether that's, an event, whether it's my people or whatever, but I mean, I've gone places solely by myself too. But even when I do that, I still end up running into somebody, so it's like, I guess I'm never really by myself when it boils down to it. I'm never in a city or an area where I don't know somebody. So if something were to go down, I knew I could call somebody. But it's I mean I get what you're saying. Like
I still let my mom know when I travel. Like, and she's in Tallahassee, but anytime that I travel, not just when I'm coming to see her, but like if I have to, like I flew to Fort Lauderdale a couple of weeks ago for sorority sisters mother services, and I let her know, when I was at the airport, hey, we landed safely, I'm here, whatever. Like I'm never too old to even just reach out to her. It makes her feel good that that I still consider letting her know. And so my daughter drove back to Tallahassee last, what was that, Tuesday? No, it was this Tuesday. And I was talking to my mom, and we were talking about the services coming up for Dr. Humphreys, and I told her, I said, well, I won't be coming this week, but I'll be back home next week. And she said, well, is Kai coming? And then I said, well, Kai drove back, Kai drove back today. My mom was like on fire. She was like, what? wait, she's in Tallahassee? I said, I believe she got there at about 12. And automatically I knew that she didn't do the proverbial stop in Tifton. When we make the proverbial stop in Tifton, you send out that message and you let folk know where you are. And I shared with her, I said, listen, I said, whenever you're traveling, even if you're not specifically going to grandma's house, you need to make sure that grandma knows when you are when you get on the road, when you get to Tifton, and when you get to Tallahassee. I said, because if not, I'm gonna hear about it, which means you're gonna hear about it for me. So,
right.
And
it's important, right? It's important. It took me, I don't let my mom know as much now, but when I was younger, I definitely did. I think at some point, I was just like, all right, I was always everywhere. My mom would call me, be like, start talking. I'm in Atlanta, or I'm in Florida, or I'm in California, or I'm in Chicago. So it just got to the point. She used to be like, oh, nice to know, nice to know where you are, or whatever. But I just kind of, at some point, I just kind of stopped doing it with her. But when I was younger, that's all I did. I was like, all right, mom, I'm here, I'm there, I'm going here, I'm going there, or whatever. Just because she had her own, like my brother died back when I was in ninth grade. So I know she had that fear of, all right, well, you're here, let me know. Boom, you're there, let me know. But over time, I stopped doing it, and she stopped bothering me about it, because she knows that I'm, for the most part, I'm not going to intentionally put myself in any type of situation. Accidents happen. We know that. You can't always control your surroundings, but for the most part, she knows I'm not in an area or in predicaments where I'm gonna be compromised in any way. So I think she just kind of gave it up.
So. Well, you guys are coming down here, and of course, homecoming also. We all gonna be like in places that we know almost everybody in the room. Right. So, like me traveling, when I go out by myself, I feel like I'm, when we go to, because I don't go out like that no more. Every blue moon. So I'm usually in places where there's a bunch of people around that I know. You know what I'm saying? And y'all ain't gonna never carry me out of the room. I'm never gonna drink enough where y'all gotta be out. Well, we gotta pick this motherfucker up and take him out, and that's never gonna happen. So I feel like I'm always in, good consciousness where I know what's going on. So I get it that accountability, checking in is important, but like I feel like I don't know. I just got to the point where I'm comfortable now. I guess, and you can never get too comfortable, but I guess I'm kind of at that point.
Right.
It's funny that you mentioned the point about like OBC coming up, Orange Blossom Classic, so many different events that are going on, and as well as homecoming, people getting prepared for that, where you mentioned we know everybody around us. That's not true. Sometimes we think we know the people that are around us. We assume that we know the people around us. And then sometimes people end up revealing themselves. And then, so even especially at big events like that, even with homecoming, we went to school with people, but that was 30 years, not afraid to share my age. That was almost 31 years ago. 31 years ago for me. And the people that we knew back then, they may not necessarily have the same character now. Between 30 years, a lot can change, in 30 years for whatever reason. And so, even around a big crowd of people that I know, I still am just on point, and I still make sure that I'm not quote unquote comfortable, because see what happens when you have people that like to prey on people. They look for those people who are quote unquote comfortable.
But what I'm saying is,
I'm never that comfortable.
But what I'm saying is, if something was to go down and I'm in the same place with Mike and BT and vice versa, they're not going to let anything happen to me. I just know that from 91, 92 to today. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, not to say the praying part, people being prayed upon, but I'm saying from a standpoint, if I ever got into it with somebody, I knew I have people there that's got my back because there's so many people there. Not to say that I'm trying to take it to that point, but I don't feel like I'm alone when I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like, even though I came alone, I don't feel like I'm alone.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and just like we've been. Mike's gonna really laugh at this, because this is such an infamous part of our collegiate history experience. It's gonna go down in the books. Shocktoberfest, October '92 would have been
October 31st.
Hey, my mom's birthday, a prime time to check up on your friends, regardless if it's a man, woman, whatever, young lady, young man, because that incident happened outside where people scattered and people, you got to make sure that your people are safe. And, we've been really fortunate at homecoming, at least in our age cohort, where people kind of have some common sense, and people are, as you get older, you just really mature, and it's really about the fellowship and having fun and just really enjoying everybody's presence. But, some of those situations back when we were in college, I know 1989, with the different, with the riot that happened on campus.
That you weren't supposed to be at.
In 1989, right, exactly, that I wasn't supposed to be at. Eventually I did come clean, and I think I did finally share my mom, share that entire story with her. But again, I just trying to make sure that I stay relevant to the topic, that even in close things like homecoming, things like OBC, to me, that's more of a time to make sure that you're on point more than ever, because it's so many different people that are going to come together. And again, the example that I gave, case in point, it wasn't at a crowded event. This person was just, not person, but this friend was someone who was always, just kind of around at mutual events and stuff. And when I tell you, I thought I knew who they were, they proved me wrong. And I don't make announcements about when I make adjustments. I just make the adjustment. I had a friend who says, and it's hilarious, if you're gonna haul, and I think I shared it in our group, maybe one of our twilights, like if you're gonna haul, you know what? I can't say the word since we're alive. Don't announce the haul, just haul. So in other words, when I do make adjustments like that, there is no announcement, there is no big deal, drama, or anything like that. And honestly, I usually don't even give people the opportunity to try to justify, explain, because there's nothing that you can do to explain your behavior.
Right.
It's nothing that you can do to, once you make me feel unsafe around you, there's nothing that you can do to convince me otherwise. It's not a miscue. It's not. You gotta know, and unfortunately sometimes, like when you do look at scenarios with some of these other different cases, that have come about where, women are, they come forward about, being assaulted, things of that nature. They don't really, not to say that they don't think about, it's just that they never really felt like they had to be concerned about that, because they were around someone that they trusted. They were around someone that, that.
Uh-oh.
I think Donna froze.
Yeah, it was like I had a little ding. I thought my whole thing shut down at first.
Okay, I did too for a quick moment, but I can still see you're back now. But let's just take, for example, and definitely not making a comparison with humans and dogs, but I'm just thinking about dogs in their space. And I can just use my family. So when I was visiting at home, my brother lives, his family out in the country. So there's no across the street or down the street, it's across the way. So, amen if you understand what I'm saying. But, so across the way, my brother wanted to, no, he wasn't home. He was at work and his wife was at home. And so I went over to see her because my little niece, Riley, was there and I wanted to see if she was there. And my mom told me to call before I went over there and I didn't. I just walked over there. But when I came in the sliding door from the back, the dog cage was right there, and they have a huge, when I say a huge, like what do you call them, Presa Canaries, like one of them big, it's like in the Mastiff, Bull Mastiff type family. It's like one of them huge dogs. Like I slid the door and looked to the right and kind of jumped a little bit. And she kept saying, don't worry. He's friendly. I said, I get that he's friendly, but he doesn't know me the way that he knows you. And I said, I'm not afraid of him. I said, it caught me off guard. I said, but I respect his space, because with dogs, you can't put anything past them, especially if it's not a dog that you're constantly around. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be constantly around them and they may be agitated about something and they can have a reaction. So imagine a dog that you don't have a lot of interaction with. So, I just say that I don't take for granted, oh, it's my brother's dog, I'm good. He doesn't know me. He knows my brother, but he doesn't know me. But, it's I'm not saying it's unfortunate. I just think it's I will phrase it in a positive way. It's just being proactive. It's not being overly overly protective or what do you call it, like over assumptive about people, but it's things that I think about to help keep me safe, you know, things that I think about to help, to help keep me safe. And I try to instill those same things into my daughter as well, and it's something that those are conversations that, you do have to have conversations about. She's 21 now, and she likes to have a little cocktail when she goes out to eat, every now and again. And so I have to remind her, if you're out with your friends or you're out with your, your guy friend, you want to make sure that, your drink is attended to at all times, and that you're just not leaving it standing somewhere. And, just basic things, little proactive things that we can do, just to keep us safe. And it's not about, oh, we're bigger than thou, or we think we're all of that. It has absolutely nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. It doesn't. But we do have to be proactive about, about making sure that we keep ourselves safe. And, as not to make, I'm trying my best not to make specific comments about the topic of BC and him, being out or whatever, and the ladies and whatnot. But, in situations similar to that, sometimes women can do all that they can do to keep themselves safe. And it could be, again, somebody that they trust, and you're like, hey, here, you want some water? Do you really know what they put in that water before you got it? Right. Those are practical things that you do have, practical things you have to think about. So I'm just happy that, Mike, I'm just happy that, that you just, I've known you for about 28 years. Huh?
Almost 30.
Almost 30?
Well,
okay.
Next year will be 30.
Yeah. And, and you've always had just that really stand-up character. You've always been, even when you were younger, you were always a gentleman, and just always just, very caring, walking people to and from, making sure that they got to their dorm safely. You've always just been a very caring, nurturing person, and I know I can bear witness to that. So, I'm glad that you did this. That you did this, and I, we miss your Zooms, we miss your live streams, because that Twilight group, we, used to really put in some conversation, and I know I miss it, and I know if I could take a personal point of privilege, we know that you have been extremely busy, because you've got Diamante Roja, that, you guys did the Orlando Cigar Fest down in Orlando, which was absolutely amazing. The ambiance at every event, it was exquisite. It was grown. It was everything. And, we had already had something planned for our chapter, but I'm hoping that next year, I'll be able to come and support that. But congratulations to all of that. And then the most recent news that I'm so excited about is the launching of Infusion Lifestyle Clothing. Like, just hats off to you and Ernest. I always got to say Ernest with the T. I got to put the T on the end of it. And Brian for, really just daring to dream and daring to just, if you think back to, another thing that I miss, and that is the virtual sip and smokes that you guys used to do when Rashawn was on, and I have this phrase written down on a piece of paper, and I keep it in my wallet as a reminder, where she said, if God placed it on your heart, how dare you not try? Mm-hmm. That right there stuck out of all the Zooms, and y'all have had some amazing things. I have notes. Y'all know I'm a little nerdy, so I have notes from those Zooms, but when she said that, you guys are actually living that and realizing that. So I'm really excited. I'm patiently waiting. I think Iris is still on, and I think Iris got her package. I'm currently waiting for my Infusion Lifestyle clothing to arrive so that, I can put it on and try it on and see what it looks like and take some selfies in it and get all dolled up or whatever. But I'm just really excited for you guys. I know that you've had so much. You've got, and you have to help me pronouncing because I'm going to butcher it, and that's terrible.
What's that?
Cigar entrepreneur. I just butchered it.
It's cigar entrepreneur. Cigar entrepreneur.
I actually didn't butcher it. I just kind of emphasized, I just need to carry it all the way through. I just need to see it through. Okay. Yeah. And all the events and stuff that you're doing up in Philly. I love Philadelphia. Philly is very close to my hometown, Jersey. For those who didn't know, I was born and raised up there, but this was very good. And I hate that I couldn't log in when y'all first started, but I'm glad that I was able to just catch a little bit of it because it was very well, some good conversation. And, just some food for thought for people that are out there, Just
Hey, Don, I got a question for you. Because me and Mike kind of touched on it a little bit earlier when you weren't on. So I just want to know, we're talking about safety is for women and so forth. So are you taking any new precautions today, considering through all my friends that I've talked to, how bad Atlanta's getting with crime and shootings and so forth?
Yeah, I've made a couple of adjustments to. Well, I started making adjustments a few years ago when women were being assaulted at gas stations. That was a really big issue here in the Atlanta area, especially on the south side of town. But really, it's just everywhere, So I started just changing, for example, when I get gas, how I get gas, being very particular about where I stop for gas, and making sure I don't put myself in a situation where I'm in an area and my tank is on E and I'm in a location where I don't feel comfortable stopping. So that's number one. I make sure that my tank doesn't fall below, a certain point. I know for guys, it's usually half a tank or quarter of a tank or something. Women, we'll ride out on the reserve. We know exactly how many miles we can make it, on that reserve part. Once that light comes on, I don't do that anymore. I used to press it with my Acura, but I don't do that anymore. But I have made some adjustments. A couple of adjustments that I've made is just making sure that I gas up during the day and not at night. Secondly, I gas up where I work. I work in North Georgia, which is, about 45, 50 minutes out. So very seldomly do I get gas in the Atlanta area. And when I do, I'm very particular about where I get it. I'm extremely particular about where I stop and where I get it. As far as just, again, some of those things, safety precautions, I just try to, this is an important one. One thing that I've stopped doing is sitting in my car, even when I get off of my commute. I'm sitting here laughing because it looks like BT has logged in and he said the Kappa shed is in effect. What do we call that? The tree, somebody who was calling it a tree house or something like that.
That was did somebody call it a treehouse? Was that you, Terrence? I know Terrence tries to call it a she shed. But...
Yeah.
All you need is some plants in the back. Just put some plants. I don't know. They might not survive because it's hot in there, isn't it? Doesn't it get hot in the summertime?
Now, it's not hot now because I got the doors open. It was raining. It's raining now actually, so it feels good in here now. But I was outside in the yard earlier because it was so daggone hot today.
Right. So another thing that I've stopped doing is sitting in my car. I have a really like when I get off the road in the afternoons, I just have to decompress from the drive. It's, almost an hour up and an hour back. And I just can't hop right out the car. But one of my isms, my sorority, one of my younger sorority sisters, shared with us that she happened to be sitting in her car, in her division, and wasn't paying attention about her doors being locked or anything, and was on her phone, and was kind of sitting there. I can't remember if she was coming from somewhere and somebody came to her door and opened, she saw somebody go into one car and she didn't think anything of it because she thought he was going to get in that car. And the next thing you know, that person came to her car, opened the car door, and she said she just screamed to the top of her lungs and was like, "Oh my God, like get out of here," whatever. And the dude took off and he ran. And so, where I live, we have, like an open garage. It's not like a closed and enclosed garage. It's an open garage. It's 3 levels. The top level is kind of like a rooftop venue where, you can walk your dog, you can sit out, you can lounge. There's a fire pit, a tennis court or whatever. But the first 2 levels are for parking. And I'm on the bottom, which is open, but at the same time, it's kind of pushed back a little bit. So even in the daytime, it's lit, but I would sometimes sit there for like 25, 30 minutes and even hold meetings in the car on the phone for almost an hour, just sitting there. And I had to stop doing that because just because of all the craziness, that's been going on. And, I don't make a distinguishment between Bankhead and Buckhead and any Sandy Springs, because in the Atlanta metro area, things have been happening everywhere, but more recently in the area that I do live in, it's been a lot of events happening. So some of the other things that I've adjusted to is making sure that I'm off the highway after a certain point in time, simply because there have been a lot of shootouts and a lot of shootings that have taken place on the highway. And I shared with a friend of mine that I was a little nervous coming home from a friend's little house gathering because they live on the east side, and I had to go down 20 and then get on, jump on 75, 85. And that's kind of going into Midtown, and the traffic was so backed up that I felt trapped. And then I started to have a little bit of anxiety about it because I'm like, oh, this is the area. This is Coffee said, I think, yeah. Yep. She wait a minute. Coffee says she's going to start timing me when we're on the phone to make sure I get up out of my car. But yeah, so I felt a little nervous because I felt trapped. Like I felt like I didn't have an exit. Like I'm like, if something was to start popping off on this highway, can I get off the highway? I would have been stuck. But eventually it was just a little bit of like slow traffic or whatever. So I've made those adjustments, things like, self-defense. I do know how to box. I do know how not to say fight, because I'm not just going to be out here trying to fight people. I'm a little bit too old for that. But I do know some self-defense techniques. And to be honest with you, this is another thing that I'll be really careful about, how I phrase it. And that is owning a firearm and being in possession of it. Owning a firearm doesn't mean that you are a responsible firearm owner. So I say that to say people have made adjustments in Atlanta, like because of everything happening. Sometimes people are like, okay, well, all of these things are happening, so now I have to go out and purchase. But you also have to be responsible in making sure you have the proper training as well, before you even think about trying to carry. And or you think about trying to have it on you. And, you know, a lot of people are quick to say it's better to have it than to not have it. Only thing that I would say about that is that if it is something that anybody who's listening is considering, make sure that you invest in the proper training, because I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing so many thoughtless, careless, ruthless shooting incidents, because people just purchase, carry, point and shoot. And I'm talking about if somebody doesn't let you get over on the highway. If you're trying to get past somebody and they're blinking you to move and you choose not to move, somebody could pull up next to you and next thing you know, you're being shot at, which is ridiculous. It's crazy to even try to wrap your mind around that. So those are just some of the little adjustments that I've made.
Makes sense.
And then also making sure I'm not, you know, there's a whole nother element in Atlanta that comes out like between 2 and 6 a.m. You know, somebody my age, I'm not out at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm not out at 3:30 in the morning. Like there's nowhere for me to go, you know, at that time. So in Atlanta used to have that nightlife that didn't end until 6 a.m. I missed that because I didn't live here. Some people who are listening or on the Zoom may have been a part of that, but like it's a different element between those hours. And, you know, you just, again, it's just being proactive and making sure you're not putting yourself in certain situations and just knowing your surroundings. So.
Right. Yeah, that's it. For the most part, that's kind of what it boils down to. You know, knowing what you're dealing with, knowing where you are. You know, don't, you know, not openly putting yourself in certain situations that, you know, I won't say you know better, because I mean, I can't say that, you know, even if you knew better and something were to happen, I don't want to say it in a way to make it seem like it's somebody's, you know, victim's fault, obviously. But, you know, we all got to do certain things, you know, to protect ourselves. I mean, men too, right? You know, I catch myself sometimes. So, you know, those that know me know, for the most part, I'm not taking no shit. So, when I'm on the road or when I'm out and about or whatever, it seems like I only really get tried when I got my kids with me. I don't really get tried when I'm by myself. And, you know, I'm mindful of, you know, situations. Obviously, I never want to do anything to put my kids in, you know, in jeopardy. So I feel like, you know, that's kind of the man upstairs keeping me right, because, you know, if you know, by myself, it's a different story. I did have a situation some years ago. My twins were in the car, and, you know, the whole bob and weave back and forth, somebody trying to get around me. And truthfully, I try to get out your way. Because if you're in that much of a hurry, I don't know that you really are in a hurry to get somewhere important, right? Like something's happening and you need to be there. So clearly you're in more of a rush than me. So I'm gonna get out your way. But if I can't, you know, what you're not going to do is, you know, you're not going to sit in my bumper. You know, you're not going to be mad at me because I can't get out of your way, right? Because Lord knows I'm trying. But I had this, you know, little kid, you know, I say kid, I mean, I don't know, he could have been 30. He looked like he was 12. But, you know, he finally gets beside me and he's looking at me. And at the time, I think my twin boys were like maybe 3. And, you know, he gives me one of these. So now my twin boys are like, well, one of them was like, Dad, what's that? What's he doing? So now I got to explain to 3-year-old boys what a middle finger is. So ironically, we're going the same way and he gets stuck at a light. So against my, you know, better judgment, I had to get out the car and tell him, like, dog, like, I don't know where you trying to go. I don't know what your rush is. Now, mind you, he had the fear of God in his eyes. So clearly I'm still here. So it didn't turn into nothing. I was like, but you need to be mindful of who you throwing up the bird to. I was like, for one, I ain't going to do nothing to you, but I can see you scared. So I'm going to leave you alone. But I got to explain to my kids what a middle finger is now. They're only 3 years old. So you forcing me to have conversations with my kids that I don't need to have with them yet. So that's a problem for me. I was like, in a different situation, this would be a different situation. I was like, but I'm gonna leave it at that, you know. And I just kind of like, literally, he looked like he pissed himself. So I just kind of went back to my car. But better judgment, I probably shouldn't have got out the car because I don't know what I was walking into. But I just felt that strongly about it at that moment. But I'm typically not running up on nobody, you know, not without nothing else in my hand, just because you never know. So saying all that to say, kids at home, don't do what I did, because you don't know. But you know, sometimes I can't help it. Sometimes you know, if I care more about, you know, the effect of what happened than what happened, I'm probably going to do something about it, to say something about it. I can't help it. But you know, not saying it was right, but you know, there was a purpose.
Just to kind of, Jennifer, she made a really great comment. She mentioned that I really think that you shouldn't be able to purchase before training, like really have before training, like have certification. But then again, you know, people are just purchasing from anywhere, and that's, you know, again, that's true. And one of my elders, who's a you know, kind of like a mentor and kind of like a mom away from home, you know, I talked about that, and she was like, she says, ain't nobody worried about, nobody cares about getting any darn, because she said another word, any training or whatever. They're just out there pointing and shooting, and that's what's sad and unfortunate. But you know, all I can do is, you know, we have the things that we can control, and then we have things that we can't control. So outside of the things that I can't control, there are certain things that I know that I can control, and that is making sure that I have, like, there's a I think he's one of your frat brothers here in the Atlanta area. He does self-defense training. Mark, and I cannot remember, why am I having a mind blank? I can't remember Mark's last name. But he does self-defense training, and he also has an amazing clubhouse that he and a couple of his colleagues, who are also certified in self-defense training, that they do as well. Mm-hmm. And I haven't been on, and I hate to say it, feels like almost like a month, but I haven't been on in a while. But they have all kinds of great topics, you know, where they're just talking about just different scenarios. You know, at one time they talked about, you know, knowing what to do in the event of something, you know, of an event happening at a church. You know, that happened in South Carolina, you know, where somebody kind of entered a church and ended up, you know, so, but they talk about all kinds of different scenarios. So if you're ever able to get on there, I don't know if you're on Clubhouse or not, but
I got an invite, but I don't think it works on Android. I don't know. I haven't tried, to be honest.
Oh, you're right. But you have an iPad, right? So you can join by iPad.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
But if you know, like if you ever have a moment or something, yep. Coffee, I'm definitely, I love you for mentioning that you're going to start timing me, because you know I'm good for it, girl. I'm good to sit there in that car. I have been so good. I promise you, I have been so good at making sure that it's almost like the movie Matrix, where where he's like, get up, Neo. That's me, where I'm like, get up, Donna, get up, go in the house. Like, I'm literally saying that out loud so that I can just, I know you're tired. I know you're trying to breathe or decompress. It's like traveling to go out of town almost every day. And it's just hard to just, okay, turn the thing off. And I have a neighbor who's an inspiration, because I promise they zoom into their park space, and they zoom into their park space and they just hop out the dang car. But anyway. So again, Mike, I'm so thankful you did this. Thanks for allowing me. You see, I just had some conversation and wanted to chat, so I appreciate it.
No, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all your kind words from earlier. I didn't really get a chance to thank you for that, because Terrence jumped in and asked you a question. But no, like I said, man, we will be picking up the Sip and Smokes, you know, again. You know, for those that have been asking, because, you know, you mentioned it, and a lot of people do ask us, but obviously we have reasons why we haven't, and for the most part, we've just been, you know, we've been
good reasons.
Yeah, good reasons. We've been got a lot of stuff going on, but we do plan on picking those back up. Obviously, we hope to see everybody in Atlanta on July 17th at the launch party. Hopefully, in their infusion gear. You know, but just overall love. I mean, obviously it's a FAMU party too, so we want to see some folks and, you know, have a good time there. We'll be in Miami, we'll be at homecoming, all that good stuff. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all joining. I appreciate you for kind of nudging me to do this, because I probably wouldn't have did it if you wouldn't have said something. So
I mean,
but,
what do you call it? Contrary to popular belief, you know, for people like us who talk a lot. BT said, "Yeah, baseball has killed his vibe, but we're coming back." He sounded like the lady off the commercial. "I'll be back, baby." The New Orleans lady who asked, "Is the elephant heavy?" She's like, "I'm coming back." So we're looking forward to those good conversations coming back. So
BTA.
we'll get it rocking. We'll find a date and a time and some scheduling to kind of that fits with, you know, with our family life and our business life, because you know, like I said, I mean, you said it too. We've had some great conversations on the Sip of Smokes, and y'all know me. I like to talk too, so I just get on here every now and then and just see who's out there, and, you know, let the conversation go where it goes. But now we'll have some more structured stuff soon. So I appreciate y'all, everybody that watched. I mean, I had Instagram up earlier. I shut that off, but everybody that watched on Facebook and joined in, definitely appreciate all of y'all, man. And we will all talk very, very soon. Y'all be safe out there. Holla at your boy.
All right, we're out.